Buddy Young's day captured in Bill Stern's call. In 1969, it was Kurt Gowdy and O.J.
Soggy pitching to Simpson. 25, 30. Look out. He runs 109.4. They won't get him. He's being convoyed in. 80 yards for O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson, one of the many brilliant collegiate stars to rock the 100,000 plus in the Arroyo. 7 years later, the cheers were for UCLA's Shara, Henry, and Wendell Tyler.
Off to Tyler. 45, 40. Tyler's outside. He's at the 20. He's cutting back. He's in there.
Reverberating since 1902, the Rose Bowl, signaling the climax of a football season and the celebration of a new sports year. It awakens again today for Illinois and UCLA. NBC Sports presents the 1984 Rose Bowl preview. The UCLA Bruins have kickoff to open this 70th Rose Bowl game. Because of the length of the Fiesta Bowl, of course, you just don't hold up the Tigers that are ready to roar. Illinois and UCLA here in Pasadena, 84 degrees. This is the warmest day ever recorded on January 2nd in history in Southern California. No wind. It's a magnificent setting for this 70th edition of the Rose Bowl. Illinois starts from its 20-yard line. Jack Trudeau to Lawrence Rooks, or Thomas Rooks of St. Louis, Missouri, and Rooks a couple of yards, the leading rusher for the Illini this year with 842 yards. We'll have the lineups for you in just a moment. It's second down and 8 for the Illini in their deep blue jerseys, orange pants. UCLA in the white jerseys, gold helmets, and blue trim. Trudeau, a sophomore from Livermore, California, following the tradition set by Dave Wilson and Tony Eason, two great quarterbacks. Dwight Beverly, the All-Big Ten halfback, has an Illinois first down at the 32-yard line. Chris Block and Don Rogers made the tackle. 10 yards on the play. Illinois with Jack Trudeau at quarterback. His running backs, Beverly, All-Big Ten, as we said, and Rooks, the leading rusher. Split end, David Williams. He caught 59. Benson on the other side. Brewster also with 59 catches, the tight end. First down play. Going long to Williams. Rogers intercepts for UCLA. The third play of the game, the All-American comes through.
Feel it already, Dick. Williams getting downfield, but you've got to neutralize those great defensive backs. All-American Don Rogers goes up and takes it away from Williams. And UCLA has the first big turnover. Turnovers, always a big story in a game like this, Dick, as well as the kicking game. But you saw the turnover here early. UCLA's got a chance to take the football now.
They have it at the 32-yard line. Rick Neuheisel, the quarterback. The running backs are Kevin Nelson and Brian Wiley. Two tight ends. And Neuheisel comes out throwing. And hits his tight end, Paul Bergman, and a first down at the Bruin 45. Bergman, who caught 40 passes this year. He's the leading tight end receiver in UCLA history.
Number 94, Paul Bergman, is the money man. He's the man they go to when they want the sure yardage. Little quick run to the outside, breaks away from number 23, Vince Osby, and pulls down his first reception. You've got to believe a lot of emotion pumping on the field out there right now. They get the first couple of hits. They've got to be excited about being able to settle down now and get things in gear.
Gerard and Young, the two wide receivers, are to the left. From the 45-yard line, Neuheisel again. As a man, complete to Wiley. He's tackled at the Illinois 44, near a first down. Osby made the play, but Wiley out of the backfield. He's rarely used by Neuheisel. There's a wrinkle for the Illini to consider.
With quite a bit of time to prepare for this game, you put in some new wrinkles. This one's going to end up almost in your lap as you're watching from home. A toss over the top. Real finesse on that throw by Neuheisel, and a juggling act by Wiley as he pulled it in on the sideline.
Derek Tonello, freshman 23, replaces Wiley. A first down for UCLA. And flags are down. We haven't had a chance to really set up the strength of this Illinois defense, and we want to do it right now because in the middle, the two tackles, Don Thorpe, 96, Mark Butkus, 53, a famous name, Butkus. His uncle, of course, the Hall of Famer Dick Butkus, but Don Thorpe, his made at tackle, was voted the most valuable player in the Big Ten. Tough to win that honor as a defensive tackle.
Certainly is, Dick, and the depth of this defense is right down the middle. The strength is right down the middle.
5 yards, still first down.
A chance to, that's Mike Johnson, number 85, leaping across, and it's a little soggy down there in a few places. Couldn't get back in time. They marched off 5 yards for offsides.
UCLA trying to capitalize on Don Rogers' interception on the opening series. Nelson's first carry. Kevin Nelson to the 35. And he bowls his way to the 25-yard line. The kid brother of the Minnesota Vikings, Darren Nelson. Kevin Nelson, all Pac-10.
Terry Donahue talks about the emergence of Nelson as the important part of the establishing of the running game for this team. You see him run right out of the grasp of number 23, Vince Osby. Tremendously quick and explosive. Gets a big play for UCLA right off the bat.
Well, the Bruins have come out, a 14-yard pass to Bergman, a 10-yard pass to Wiley, and a 14-yard run by Nelson. And a first down outside the Illini 25. Bergman, the intended target, he would have been out of bounds had he caught the ball, and it was well defended by the Illini's number 27, David Edwards. UCLA with Neuheisel, a walk-on freshman, and now a star with Wiley and Nelson, the running backs. The receivers, Sherrard, he had 44 catches to lead the club. Young, he's a junior. And Bergman, the veteran tight end, he had a big Rose Bowl game last year. The offensive line, Mannon, Barron, Gordon, McCullough, and Love. And those two guards are going to have their hands full, Mannon and McCullough, with those giant defensive tackles.
Handle those big defensive tackles, Dick.
Second down and 10. Nelson tripped up in the backfield by Thorpe, 96. So the All-American, who led the team in tackles, for a loss, and in sacks, makes his first big play.
The mark of this defense is pressure. They try and put as much pressure on you as they can, and one of their real pressure points is there, 96. You see him raising his hand in celebration.
Mike Johnson, defensive end, Thorpe, and Butkus are the tackles, and Darrell Thompson completes a 4-3 set. It's an unusual defense. You don't see many college teams using the old pro 4-3 set, but the Illini mighty successful with it. Of course, Mike White, their coach, comes out of some pro coaching experience. On a blitz, Neuheisel gets it away, and Andrews can't find the handle. Danny Andrews had a touchdown if he could have juggled that one into his grasp. But it was Darrell Thompson pressuring Neuheisel that perhaps forced the errant throw. John Lee will come in to try a field goal as you look at the linebackers for Illinois. Osby, Weingrad, and Bias. Haynes will also see duty. The defensive backs, Heaven and Taylor at the corners, Edwards and Swope at safety. Lee, a 43-yard attempt, Neuheisel to hold. Lee, a very successful placement kicker. But not this time, it's blocked. Comes down to the Illinois 4. That's Swope with it. To the 10. And tackled at the 15. He fumbles, and UCLA recovers. Steve Gemza, the offensive tackle, number 74.
Well, Dick, it didn't take long to see both exciting plays on the kicking game and turnovers. Blitzing from the outside is Sewell. Luke Sewell got a hand on that football, knocked it away, but then the worst possible thing happened. It looked like Swope was going to have a chance to get it back upfield a little bit, but he ended up dropping the football.
Here's Swope as that ball twisted down. That was a break for UCLA that it went that far downfield. And then Swope hit from behind. It was Howell, 97. Harper Howell forced the fumble, and Gemza recovered. So the Bruins wind up with a first down at the Illini 14. Frank Cephas running through a tackle with a 6-yard line. Number 4, Keith Taylor, dragged him down. He's just a freshman, the only freshman starter on either club, although the Bruins forced to use a freshman today, Batchkoff, because of the food poisoning suffered by Randall.
They love to get Cephas down in this short yardage, too. He has 5 touchdowns on the year. He is a powerful runner. UCLA alternating their tailbacks, keeping them fresh. Nelson is in there now.
They'll use Nelson, Cephas, and Andrews. They call that the zoom tight end. Howell. Nelson looking for the end zone. And denied, but he gets inside the 5 for what appears to be a first down.
Number 4, Keith Taylor, just a big play over there. One-on-one. If you don't make that tackle, it's a UCLA touchdown. As it is, it'll be very short yardage. 2 good, strong running plays from UCLA.
Wiley goes out, and Derek Tennell.
What a horse he is.
Isn't he a freshman from West Covina, California? 225 pounds, is in at fullback. It's 3rd and inches for UCLA.
This is where you find out about a great defense, Dick.
They're going to go wide again. Nelson the other way, behind Tennell. And it appears he has the first down at the 3-yard line. A swarming defense led by middle backer Mike Weingrad, a senior from Columbus, Ohio.
We mentioned the strength of this defense is right up the middle. The 2 tackles, Weingart, and the 2 safeties. UCLA trying to get around the strength and attack at the outside, but they're getting good pressure out there. Archie Carter, 84, out there along with Weingrad. Excellent play.
Thorpe comes out. 93 Steve Nelson replaces the All-American at left tackle. We don't know what that's about.
Better keep an eye on him. He's gone to the bench.
First and goal, UCLA. Cephas comes in at tailback, number 46. Played in last year's Rose Bowl game, rushed for 46 yards. Again, Howell in motion. Fake, throw wide open is Bergman for a touchdown. To the senior tight end Bergman.
Watch the fake here, leaping over the top. Cephas just froze the linebackers, and Paul Bergman again proves why he is the money back, the money receiver for the UCLA Bruins.
He in high school in Granada Hills in San Fernando Valley, his high school quarterback was none other than John Elway. He likes Neuheisel just as well, thank you. 6-0, try for point by Lee. And UCLA, on an unusual block field goal fumble, converts it into 7.
All of the emotion of this Rose Bowl and the early going will show here in a celebration of Paul Bergman.
And UCLA on the board first. Even by Southern California's best standards, a magnificent day. Clear skies, 84 degrees. The usual sellout, 103,000 plus in Pasadena's Rose Bowl. Potter will kick off after a short drive after the fumble recovery on the block field goal attempt. 3-yard pass to Bergman from Neuheisel. Potter to kick. Dwayne Pugh, number 18, the deep man for Illinois. Potter, a tremendous leg strength. Very few of his kickoffs have been returned this year. In fact, only 9 of 56. No one's going to do anything with that one. That's completely out of the end zone, about 74 yards in the air.
Dick, UCLA does something very interesting. They put a man back, and we'll watch him on one of the later kickoffs as he rushes up. But let's get to the lineups right now.
Jack Trudeau, the sophomore from the Bay Area. His offensive line, Schulte, Miller, Stowe, Babiar. He was an all Big Ten performer, and so is Juriga, sophomore from Wheaton, Illinois. They really like him at right tackle. First down, the Illini. Undefeated in Big Ten play. First time a club's gone through the complete round robin. 9-0. They beat everyone in the league. Trudeau, he loves to throw. Good poise, wide open. Complete to the tight end, Tim Brewster. We have 2 excellent collegiate senior tight ends in Brewster of Illinois and Bergman of UCLA.
Now, we talked about Bergman being a money back. Tim Brewster is the same kind of receiver for this Illinois team. Watch him right there as he takes a short pass, makes it good for the first down. Trudeau has a special relationship with a receiver like that. He knows he'll get everything he can after he catches the football as well. And good hands.
First down, 10 yards plus on the play. Oh, a sack is 95 for UCLA. Mark Whalen shoots through and records the first sack of the game. And he's in the ball game because of the illness of David Randall.
Whalen in. I bet he was pumped when they finally said, hey, you're going to start. You're going to go in there and play. He blitzed in from the outside and made a tremendous play.
Well, they must have decided, Terry Donohue's staff, that rather than going with the freshman Batchkoff, they'd go with the sophomore Whalen.
They said they were oscillating. They were thinking Batchkoff initially, but Whalen was the choice.
Second down, 17. Screen. Good block. 30. And out to the 35-yard line goes fullback Thomas Rooks. 12 yards on the play. Delacono and Gasser made the tackle for UCLA. The Bruin defense reads this way. They use a three-man defensive front. And because of the illness to starter David Randall, he's out, and Whalen's in for him. Block the nose guard, and Chapin completes the front three. They're not very big by Big Ten and Pac-10 standards. Delacono, Taylor, Knowles, he's had a bad knee, and West, that's the key to the defense for UCLA today, Merlin. I want you to develop that. Oh, right in the arms of number 87, Randy Grant. And a good read by Trudeau. Sanchez, the left corner, was blitzing, so that area was wide open.
One of the things that Trudeau does best is to read the defenses and to call audibles. He did a good job on that play.
But on the drop by Grant, Illinois will have to give up the football. Chris Sigourney, senior from Elgin, Illinois, averaging just over 40 yards a punt. Lupe Sanchez is back for UCLA at the 25. Left-footed kicker. It's a good one. Sanchez at the 25. And surrounded, covered well by 4 Illini tacklers at the 22-yard line. Timeout. 8 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the first quarter. UCLA by 7. The 1984 Rose Bowl game brought to you for this, the oldest of the bowl affairs, the granddaddy, the Rose Bowl. Illinois from the Big Ten, 10-1, 10 consecutive wins against UCLA. They staggered out of the gate against a tough schedule, 0-3-1, then rallied, won 6 of their last 7 to earn a chance to defend the Rose Bowl championship they won last year. And they lead 7-0, middle of the first quarter. Neuheisel, man wide open. It's Sherrod. And he's out across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Mike Sherrod. He needs now only 2 more catches to set a UCLA single season record. Cormac Carney had 46 catches last year.
We'll take a quick look at the defense now. You see the 4-man front. Now these 2 linebackers very often will move up into the line, and you'll find them in these positions, and they'll go in and out. They'll either rush the quarterback from there, blitz to the inside, or drop back into coverage.
Might note that Don Thorpe is okay, Merlin.
He's in there now. Yes, he is.
Nelson on first down, and he runs into some heavy traffic. It's Thorpe 96, Butkus 53. They allowed an average to the opponents of 2.4 yards a rush. You don't win many games that way.
You don't. They were second in the nation with their rushing defense. And Max McCartney, who calls their defenses for them, talked about their philosophy. He said, we want to put every bit of pressure we can on the quarterback, emotionally as well as physically. Make him read the defenses, make him make the calls.
Second down and 9. Complete. Michael Young, he has his first catch. Junior from Visalia. An all-academic performer and an outstanding baseball player, an outfielder on the Bruin baseball team. 12 yards on the play. Mo Bias made the tackle.
Here are the 2 linebackers we talked about. Now watch them drop right at the ball is being snapped. They drop back into coverage. It doesn't do them any good, however. Mike Young, right at the top of your screen, right there, sliding in behind the linebackers. Boy, Neuheisel doing a great job of mixing with his receivers and the running plays.
It's a first down and a good hole for Danny Andrews, junior from Carson, California.
We shouldn't give Neuheisel all the credit. He's not calling the plays. They're coming from the sideline from Terry Donahue and Homer Smith, who's the resident offensive genius. But he's the man who's executing out there. And so far, the pressure that Illinois hoped to put on him has not damaged UCLA's offensive thrust.
Well, the Illini were hoping they'd take advantage of the one weakness Neuheisel has, and that is his lack of mobility. But he's been protected well and able to search out the open target. Nelson cutting back inside to the 45-yard line. And again, the defense so tough inside. Clinton Hayes, Darrell Thompson filling the hole. Well, you see Thorpe again as they unpiled a big number 96 from Arlington Heights, Illinois.
One of the other things that Illinois will do defensively, they stack the wide side of the field. They really invite you to run back into the short side of the field. And they said if UCLA can run the strong side, the wide side against us, we are really in trouble. You saw them try it there. They didn't go anywhere.
3rd down and 3 for Neuheisel, a native of Tempe, Arizona, home of the Fiesta Bowl. He's got a man open, but can't find him. Carl Durrell had a couple of steps on the cornerback heaven, but under pressure, Neuheisel couldn't quite get it around big Darrell Thompson, number 99.
And that's exactly what Illinois had hoped to do today, to put the pressure on the quarterback. One of the things that UCLA did not do well during the season was protect their quarterback. Been sacked a lot of times. They got there so quickly, he had no open receiver, had to throw that ball away.
Regular punter Kevin Bunifay is out with food poisoning. Steve Bono, he did do some punting during the regular year, and of course he gives Terry Donahue the threat of a possible pass or run, and he roots that one well. That's going into the end zone. So for the 3rd time on 3 different possessions, the Fighting Illini of Illinois will begin play from their own 20-yard line after a touchback. Timeout. 5 minutes, 16 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Mountains off in the distance. You have to get a whole new book of adjectives to describe this day.
We had a little Santa Ana wind, blew all the smog and all the clouds away, and just left us with perfect football weather. And if you're a kicker or if you're a quarterback, you couldn't find a more glorious day to get the football in your hands.
Well, obviously both these teams like to pass the ball, and they have perfect weather for that. Trudeau trailing 7-0, and he'll throw on 1st down, looking for Williams. And for the 2nd time in this first quarter, Trudeau's receivers fail him. Grant dropped an easy catch, and David Williams, the sophomore from here in Los Angeles, California, one of many Southern Californians, and many that Mike White recruited right out of Pasadena City College, so they're familiar with these surroundings. Williams, a native, unable to come up with that one.
I've got to believe that's emotion. He's just too pumped. He's got to settle down.
Beverly cutting back inside to the 25-yard line. Submarining low to make the tackle was Tommy Taylor from Chattanooga, Tennessee, number 42.
Tim Brewster, fine tight end, catching the football, not afraid to stick his nose in there and block as well. Right there, diving down, knocking Batchkoff's legs out from underneath him to spring Beverly loose into the secondary. Beverly's had some big days. They're hoping he'll have one today.
3rd and 5. Open and complete. 40 with a flag down to the 45-yard line goes Tim Brewster, the tight end. Now we'll check the penalty back at the 19-yard line. 18-yard play if it counts.
Looks like a holding penalty. In fact, the UCLA players waving in it back already. A chance to look at him from the inside. 81 Tim Brewster, you just saw him blocking. Now you see him catching the football, bouncing off Delicano, number 39. Trudeau gets smashed on the play. They couldn't hold him out. That's Doug West, 41, blitzing in from the outside, but one of the linemen grabbed on.
Let's go back and talk about the linebackers for UCLA. You told us, and we didn't have a chance to share with our audience, about the key role they
got
play.
holding on the offense. Still 3rd down.
No question, they are the key. They are outmanned up front, and were before the sickness took Randall out of there. And that puts extra pressure on those linebackers. 2 of the best on the field today, West and Delacono. They really have a load on them, Dick.
They're the 2 outside backers. You saw West was blitzing on the last play. So 3rd and long now for Trudeau, and he goes right back. Look at the time. And finally throws it away. So excellent coverage by the deep backs for UCLA. Trudeau had 7-8 seconds to find a man open. There was none, and Don Rogers celebrates the defensive work of his teammates.
And there's the open man that he could not see. He's running on the right side, and that man, Tim Brewster, is all the way at the left sideline. And it is hard. He could not see him. He was too far away on the left side. He's looking down on the right side. Ordinarily sees most of the field.
Sigourney's second punt with Sanchez at the UCLA 45. End over end, drives it to the 40. And again, excellent coverage by the Illini. Downfield, number 61, Ed Brady, a middle linebacker.
Brady, the man who snapped that football on the punt, the first one down there.
A 46-yard kick late in the first quarter. The Bruins by 7. UCLA, Illinois played in the very first meeting between the Big Ten and Pac-10 champions. Big Ten, you'll recall, it's been an interesting history here, Merlin. Big Ten won 12, lost only once in the first 13. Then in the 60s, they split the 10 games 5-5. But since 1970, it's been the Pac-10 winning 12 and losing only 2. So they're only a game apart in that win-loss column.
And a chance to get even today.
UCLA victory would tie the series at 19. Bruins with the ball at their own 35. And they go up the middle. Now that was something we didn't expect much of, but you've got to keep those big tackles honest. They told us, the coaches and players, they knew they were in tough going against Butkus and Thorpe, but they had to keep them at home.
Dick, before that play, on every play, this Illinois team will flip-flop. They run their people back and forth defensively. Mike Heaven on that is always on the weak side. You see him right there. He's a safety man, actually a cornerback. You see how close he is to the line. They put a lot of pressure on you by keeping a lot of people up there tight. It almost looks like a gap 8 defense. Look how many people they have on the line there. And they're coming. It's a blitz again.
Second down 8. Neuheisel complete. Keith Taylor makes the tackle, but it appears to be close to another first down. Mike Young. Are they going to call? Yes, they do call it a legal catch. 9 yards on the play.
Now they flip-flop both the linebackers and the defensive secondary. They're going out to the strong or weak side, whichever it happens to be. We talked about the blitz coming on that play. That's what happens if you don't get to the quarterback. You're one-on-one against those receivers, and you better get to him and knock him down.
Young, a teammate in high school of Lupe Sanchez, the cornerback of the Bruins. Neuheisel going for it all. He had his man beaten by a good stride and was just off the fingertips of Mike Sherrard. He inherits his speed from his mother, Sherry, who was a member of the U.S. Olympic team in 1964, a hurdler and sprinter.
Mike Heaven was on the weak side again, and that's the man they're working on. Does not have blinding speed. He's trying to stay with Sherrard here, and Sherrard just runs off and leaves him. Unfortunately, the ball had more speed than Sherrard, right off the fingertips.
Second down and 10. Neuheisel thought, ooh, ever so close. That's an interesting matchup. 2 walk-ons, Neuheisel and Sherrard. Out of the backfield. It's to the freshman fullback, Tennell, who rumbles to midfield, but that'll be short of a first down. Mo Bias, number 83, a senior from Los Angeles, made the tackle for Illinois.
Terry Donahue paid a lot of respect to this Illinois defense. He said one thing they have is great team speed, and you saw it there. There were 5 Illinois players over there in position to make that stop and make it for a relatively short gain. It'll be 3rd and 10.
No, it's actually 3rd and 8.
Yeah, 3rd and 8.
Sherrard to the right. Durrell to the left. Under a blitz again. Thorpe, 96, followed 27, David Edwards, a safety man, got to Neuheisel first.
A few moments ago, you saw the blitz. They didn't get to Neuheisel. They don't expect to be able to get there every time. But getting to him on this play, knocking him down, forcing him to feel that blitz, that's putting the emotional pressure we talked about on the quarterback. There's the physical pressure we talked about. That's the kind of big play defense Illinois has been playing all year.
1:44 left in the first quarter. Don Passmore at the other end, as Bono just did get that one away. Passmore at his 23. And down at the 27-yard line. In case you joined us late, UCLA on a blocked field goal picked up by Craig Swope, returned, and he fumbled on the return. UCLA recovered, turned it into a 3-yard touchdown play. Neuheisel to Bergman. That's the story of this first quarter. To score early in this period. 15-yard penalty. The quick hitter. And the tackle made by Ron Pitts, number 47, on Randy Grant. Pitts the son of a famous running back, Elijah Pitts, who starred with the Green Bay Packers. There are the scores earlier games today. Ohio State, you saw here on NBC, 28-23, won it on a pass in the final minute over Pittsburgh. And Georgia defeating formerly unbeaten Texas 10-9 in the Cotton Bowl. 2nd down and 8, only 2 yards on that last pass play. And again, it's the sophomore Trudeau to throw. Almost to the second man, Mitchell Brookins, number 33. And it could be that Brewster, who was the front receiver, in going up for the catch, might have tipped it away from a teammate.
I think that's what it was, and I think Brookins was the intended receiver, but you can't fault Brewster. He sees the ball and figures it's his, goes up after it, leaps up, and I think shielded Brookins. Brookins couldn't see that ball as well as he should have. Watch it here as it comes over the top.
He
just
deflected
gave it a little tap, and that was enough to keep it from falling in the hands of Brookins. Brookins, by the way, has incredible speed. Talking to these coaches for Illinois, they said they have never seen a football player with his kind of speed. 4.3 officially in a 40, and one of the fastest men in a football uniform you may ever see.
He's still in the huddle, number 33. They converted him to a wide receiver from running back. And this is senior year. You see Terry Donahue, the 39-year-old head coach of the Bruins, chatting with the officials on the far side.
It's been a big year for Illinois, and you see the little marks on the helmets? Those are called Chiefs. You give those for a big play or a contribution to the team's success, and they've passed out a lot of them during this season.
Go 10-1 and ranked 4th in the nation. Those merit awards, symbols of individual outstanding play. Trudeau on 3rd and 8. Again, it's Brewster, the tight end, and he has a first down at the UCLA 40. Sanchez made the tackle, number 21.
Tim Brewster coming off the line. We said it earlier. He's the money receiver. One-on-one right there. A little bump. Gets inside. Makes the catch. Lupe Sanchez gets him, but he's got the first down.
At the end of the first quarter. From Pasadena, California, let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Welcome to the second quarter of this, the 70th Rose Bowl game. Illinois from the Big Ten, UCLA of the Pacific 10, 7-0 Bruins. But the Illini are on the march to open the second quarter. They have the ball first down at the UCLA 41. Trudeau with an excellent fake. Wide open is Williams, 30, and he's out of bounds at the 27. Another Illini first down.
Up on the line of scrimmage, you get good play action fake, and you get people open. David Williams, number 1, just spinning off, and you see his very quick feet on that play. Rogers knocking him out, finally out of bounds, but a play action froze the defense, got the linebackers coming on the run, and just opened the territory for Williams, who'd come all the way across underneath.
Trudeau perhaps changing the play. He's 6 for 12 passing in the game, 55 yards, 1 interception. Overshoots his man Benson on the far side.
Benson might be happy he didn't get it there. Lupe Sanchez was coming up like a freight train wide open and would have leveled him.
There's Trudeau's statistics on the year, a +4 touchdowns over interceptions. He's only a sophomore. Mike White, long tradition at Cal and now at Illinois of recruiting outstanding throwing quarterbacks. He had Dave Wilson, now a star in the NFL, as well as Tony Eason with the Patriots, and the third man to come to Champaign-Urbana is Jack Trudeau, and he has 2 years after this one. Deep drop, and he may have thrown that one away, and wisely so. He threw it down at the ankles of Beverly, because Beverly was surrounded by Bruins. Had he caught the ball, it would have been a 5-yard loss. Kenny Page, 96, a senior from Colorado Springs, applied pressure. Skywriting.
Sky Typers up there today. They're working out.
Look at that blue.
UCLA blue, that's their color, isn't it, Dick?
Yeah, and light blue is also a color familiar to the Illinois players. We get a moment, we'll talk about that. It has to do with their psychological frame of mind. Big play, both sides, at the 27 of UCLA. To Williams. And he runs right into Don Rogers, and when Rogers hits you, you don't go very far. So 4th down. We'll see if we're going to... Yes, Chris White, the son of Coach Mike White, the place kicker and all Big Ten choice, 13 for 22 this year. We'll try to get Illinois on the board. It'll be a 41-yard attempt. 84 degrees, the warmest January 2nd in the history of this area. 83 degrees in 1893.
You can't give the coach any flack for putting his son in when his son's an all Big Ten kicker, can you?
Not indeed. That's an interesting story, too. It's high enough, long enough, and right down the middle. 7-3 the score. 41 yards for Chris White, who never kicked a football until he was out of high school. He just fooling around trying to kick it. Fooling around 2 years, he's a star. And a second gone in the second quarter. Chris White has given Illinois its first points. It's 7-3 UCLA. On the far side, Danny Andrews, Carl Durrell on the near side as White kicks it off. A staggered setup for Illinois. Only 3 men to White's left and the rest of the team to the right. Good kick into the end zone. Durrell will take the 20-yard line on the touchback. You know, I think that college football kickers have become so outstanding that they ought to move them back to the 35. That just takes something out of the game when everyone kicks it out of the end zone.
Well, I think the field goal kickers, too, have grown to a point where they can stick it in almost anywhere, Dick.
Back again this year, the Goodyear blimp, Columbia, Captain Charles Russell from Downey, California. Nice to have him with us.
Dick, on a day like today, with the air so dry, that ball tends to travel further anyway. And you're liable to see some kickoffs all the way out of the end zone today.
Leading 7-3, Neuheisel setting his line. Oh, it's a passing game to Kevin Nelson. Near a first down, stopped just short of the 30. Number 63, Clinton Haynes from Gardena, California, linebacker, made the tackle.
Nelson, not only a fine ball carrier, but an excellent receiver. The personalities of these two teams seem to be much alike in the way they're approaching this game, preferring to throw the football, but mixing in the run. Neuheisel getting back, watching Nelson all the way, finally waiting for him to make his break, and then throws a zipper out there. Good play.
New backs behind him now, Cephas and Tunnell, with Howell in motion. Frank Cephas out to the 35-yard line, easily picking up the first down on second and short. Mike Johnson, a senior from Chicago, Illinois, made the tackle, number 85.
We mentioned the strength of that defense is right up the middle, and the fact that UCLA would be trying to take advantage, getting to the outside. That's what they did with Nelson on that last play, breaking into the outside, throwing the ball aside.
Yeah, the organization of the major football powers. The defensive players really don't see what's going on now. They're doing their homework, getting ready for their next appearance. First down play. And up the middle for about 4 yards goes Kevin Nelson.
One of the things you do defensively when you have a reputation for blitzing about half of the time is that you stick your people up there, force the audible, and then drop your people back into coverage. On that play, I think they were able to get Neuheisel to call an audible. David Edwards had come up close to the line of scrimmage. He simply dropped back. It went back to an ordinary coverage, ordinary protection on the inside, and were able to stop the play for a short gain.
Young to the left, Sherrard to the right.
There again, they faked it. Now they're coming.
On second down, the quick hitch to Sherrard, and he gets nothing, maybe even a loss. Ed Brady, number 61, roaming to the sidelines from his middle backer position.
You see him shaking his head now. You know what he did there? The defense faked the blitz, then started to drop back, and then came with the blitz, and Neuheisel was trapped. He called the play.
There's the balance, rushing and passing. Illinois throwing even more than UCLA. It's complete to Young, and that'll be a first down at the Illinois. Check that, the UCLA 48-yard line. Young's third catch, and it's good for 11 yards in front of Mike Heaven.
Neuheisel ended up on his back, but not until he'd unloaded a very accurate pass, and does not throw some of the deep balls as well as Trudeau, but is one of the most accurate passers in college football. Right there, he watches it for a little while until he gets dropped on the seat of his pants.
Ron Baum, and he did just that to the quarterback.
It was complete.
First down at the 49. 7-3 UCLA. 11 minutes remaining in the first half. It's a reverse to Durrell. He's got blockers now. 50, 40, 30-yard line. Carl Durrell, a sophomore from San Diego.
Dick, it looked for a minute like Durrell was going to be trapped in the backfield. Mike Johnson, 85, had gotten back in there, had good position on it. But Durrell just used his athletic quickness to get back around. Cephas handing off. Look at it right here. Johnson, number 85, looked like he had a chance. Excellent block. Was that the quarterback?
Neuheisel threw that key block.
Throwing a block on that particular.
And you're right. Had Neuheisel not done something you don't expect from a T-formation quarterback, throw a block on a defensive lineman, that play would have been spoiled. He sprung him for 20. Nelson in the clear. That's going to be a UCLA touchdown. .28 yards where Illinois doesn't expect it. Right up the middle.
They certainly went after the strength of the defense. They've been going outside, going outside. They came right back. They attacked the strength of the defense. They broke the play. What tremendous quickness in running from Kevin Nelson. Just exploded. Good block in the middle on Weingrad. No chance for him. A dive there. That was Mike Hartmeyer, number 63, with that block. Tremendous, tremendous play.
Lee's extra point try is good.
The last man that had a chance, number 12, Craig Swope. Watch Swope there, just diving at the heels of Nelson. But once he's out, he's gone.
He's built like his brother, isn't he? 5'10 and a half, 196 pounds, 80-yard drive, 7 plays, the touchdown, 28 yards by Kevin Nelson. Kevin Nelson in his senior year, he awakened at mid-year, and with him the Bruin offense. Hey, he's got good taste. In fact, consummate good taste.
Well, he also has a pretty good running style and put him in the end zone on that last play.
28 yards. It's 14-3 UCLA. Potter to kick off. Pugh at the goal line. See if Potter gets the distance this time. Not quite. At the goal line. Pugh, 15, breaks it into the clear. 30. He's got running room. One man to beat Potter. And the kicker knocks him out of bounds at the 44-yard line. So Ken Potter needed those strong arms to deny Pugh a touchdown.
Wayne Pugh has been playing in that secondary. They're talking about moving him to linebacker next year. Has run as fast as a 4.4 in the 40. He's about 220 pounds. Can you imagine that kind of speed at linebacker?
44-yard return.
You get a look at it here. Kick returner's down, but he just exploded up the middle, and that's what you have to do to get a good run back.
On first down, again, Trudeau to throw. Chased out of the cup. And again, one through the fingertips, although that a much more difficult chance. And David Williams is looking back into the sun as he leaped high for the catch.
And sun is going to be a factor for them on this particular series, and they might be well advised to throw to the other side of the field because Williams unable to handle that one. A high throw, too. He has dropped a couple that have been catchable earlier today.
Williams, he had an interesting comment about Don Rogers in that secondary. We'll bring you that in a moment. 4 rushes, 16 passes. So most of the attack through the air. And there's another one intercepted by Rogers. He could go all the way. Trudeau to beat. To the 10-yard line. The All-American second interception. Don Rogers of Sacramento, California.
Rogers, the co-MVP of last year's Rose Bowl. He's on his way to consideration again. Trudeau simply overthrew the pass. Got it up over the head of his receiver. Rogers, reading the ball well, took advantage of the mistake and packs it down, gives UCLA's offense tremendous field position. Watch Rogers in isolation. He had to go high for the ball. The ball well over the head of David Williams, but not over the head of Don Rogers.
Trudeau did a good job of shielding the inside of the field, taking it away from Rogers, and waited for help. Now it's the Illini defense that has to dig in. Neuheisel, 15, breaks it into the clear. 30. He's got running room. One man to beat Potter. And the kicker knocks him out of bounds at the 44-yard line. So Ken Potter needed those strong arms to deny Pugh a touchdown.
On first down,
And for the first time, he is betrayed by a receiver, and normally reliable Paul Bergman was right in his midst. A flag is down. Rogers, his second interception in this first half.
This pass should have been caught for a touchdown. Might have been negated by the penalty anyway. Swope getting beat on that one. Just made a bad play. Taylor also over on the play.
Now the penalty.
Going to go against UCLA.
Yeah, the illegal use of hands on the offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st and 15.
1st and 15. UCLA can make conceivably a first down without a touchdown, but they'd really have to try to do it because a first down would take the ball right at the 1-foot line.
Terry Donahue obviously has to be thrilled. He has had a lot of adversity, injuries in practice and food poisoning. They haven't had much adversity here in the first half.
Leading 14-3. Neuheisel looking for more, and he's got it.
White's concerns coming into this game was the speed of his secondary. Dick, UCLA's receivers have shown more quickness than Illinois' secondary, and they've been able to take advantage of them.
Neuheisel for Lee, and Lee has the extra point. Don Rogers, 2 interceptions, have directly and somewhat indirectly led to 2 quick Bruin scores, and they have a 21-3 advantage.
You'll see Durrell coming right into your screen across in front of Keith Taylor, number 4. And Durrell had just beaten him cleanly with a fine one-on-one move.
Only a sophomore from San Diego. He had 4 touchdown catches during the regular season. And we have a timeout. 10:23 left in the first half. Well, the roars that have emanated from that giant bowl have been primarily for UCLA. 21-3. The Bruins lead the Illini. Lyndon Crawford, who is a senior from Chicago for UCLA, he's the man farthest back on your left. He's their designated hitter.
He'll go right to the ball, Dick. They want him to get down there and force the play. He's not going to have a chance to do it on this play, as that ball just rolled right out of the end zone. Potter, I believe, had hurt his leg making the tackle on the last kickoff. Drilled that one low. He usually gets the ball fairly high.
That was such a key play by Potter, making that tackle, saving a possible kickoff return for a touchdown. Here's the recap. Bergman, a catch from Neuheisel, made it 7-0 in the first quarter. Then Chris White kicked a 41-yard field goal to make it 7-3. But UCLA back. Nelson, a 28-yard run up the middle to make it 14-3. And then after Rogers' second interception, Neuheisel to Durrell, 15 yards. Well, 16 now, they say officially. And it's 21-3. The Illini work to do. Trudeau to Brewster, and the tight end has a first down at the 31. Lee Knowles, 85, made the tackle for the Bruins.
Trudeau, a very calm youngster, and a lot of young quarterbacks throwing 2 interceptions like he has in this ball game would come back gun shy. But Mike White believes in the passing game, and he happens to believe in Jack Trudeau. They come right back throwing the football.
He has 2 outstanding runners in Rooks and Beverly. Really hasn't used the run. Trudeau with a fake. Wide open is Brewster. 45, 50, and another Illini first down. Rogers made the tackle. One thing for certain, Trudeau, when his receivers catch the ball, they've been wide open. They've been able to move the ball.
We'd already talked about the importance of Brewster in the scheme of things. He's coming across the field. They love the crossing patterns. Nobody in the picture but the receiver. Well-designed pattern, good execution, and an obvious result of a first down.
At the 50-yard line, Brewster now with 4 catches, a total of 50 yards for the tight end. Here's a draw to Beverly. And he gets fumbles, and UCLA recovers. The hit was by Mark Whalen, number 95. And here's a man who wasn't supposed to play much today, and let's see if, yes, it is to UCLA. Joe Gasser recovered the ball, number 28, a sophomore safety man from Torrance, California, and everything going wrong for Mike White's Illini.
This is the kind of play you use to balance out against the passing game. You put the draws in there, but there's the shot right there. Whalen putting his helmet right on the football and just knocking it loose.
He's playing because David Randall has 4 turnovers to 0, and that, of course, the story of the first half. David Randall, food poisoning, disappointment, not being able to play today. Whalen replaces him. He's made 2 big defensive plays already. Brian Wiley, the fullback, down to the Illini 47-yard line. Ed Brady made the tackle. Well, Gassler made the fumble recovery, but Whalen's the one who created the play with his tackle. He also has a sack today.
It's got to be interesting to be told just before the game, hey, you're going to be playing today, and he's been sharing some time in there, but certainly getting his share of the mentions and then some.
2nd down and 5. Staying on the ground, it's Nelson. He's caught in the backfield by Mark Butkus, the senior from Lansing, Illinois.
You saw the quickness right there of Mark Butkus, and that's the kind of dominant defensive line play that Illinois has been able to use during the year to keep their opponents down. But UCLA has bounced right back and put it in the end zone against them.
Many have asked Mark about the influence of his famous uncle Dick Butkus. He said, no, give the credit to my father. He's the one who really taught me the game and the love for the game. And occasionally Dick would say, attaboy. Open again, Sherrard, and a first down at the Illinois 38-yard line. Mike Heaven made the tackle. And for Sherrard, that ties the UCLA season record.
Sherrard getting down, getting a little opening, and pass thrown right on target. Sherrard has that fine, deep speed. He's one of the receivers that we talked about who's used his quickness to work in front of and behind these receivers. Mike Heaven, number 9, there to make the tackle. But you want to get those guys, get up in front of them, knock that ball away. You can't let them catch it, then tackle.
Oh, that looks like a blown play. Maybe not. Berkman to the 28-yard line near another first down. Let's talk about Rick Neuheisel. We all love the underdog. And here's a young man, a bright student, Tempe, Arizona. No one recruited him. He went to UCLA, went to Terry Donahue. Can I play here? He said, well, you can try out. Freshman year just was around the scout team. Finally gave him a scholarship. He was a holder, waited for Tom Ramsey to graduate. He's a 5th-year senior, not because he's not academically strong, because he wanted to stay around for a chance to play as a senior. And here he's led his team into a Rose Bowl and set a UCLA record, 69% completion rate. What a story.
And he just picked up a first down. And you'll notice on the shoulders of those UCLA players, the roses. That's a special jersey for this game. You better believe that Rick Neuheisel will find a place for that jersey of his, and a special place for the memories of this game. If it continues the way it's going to be a special one for him.
Such a nice young man, too. We told him the other day after chatting with him, boy, you picked good parents. He's also got a lovely sister who was a cheerleader at University of Arizona. Danny Andrews fumbles, and that may be the break Illinois is looking for. It is.
Well, I guess Terry Donahue knew that the fumbles weren't always going to go his way. This one again, you see the blitzing coming right there. Ed Brady coming up the middle. He looked like he just reached across and slapped that ball away. A mad scramble for the football.
Curtis Clark, whose father, Leon Clark, was a great star at Southern California, played in the National Football League. He's from Pasadena. Curtis Clark on Weingrad's tackle, and the Illini stopped UCLA. Right back. Vaulting forward for a couple of tough earned yards. Batchkoff, the freshman, making the tackle on Thomas Rooks. Clock shows 7 minutes remaining in the first half. Illinois trailing 21-3, and they've just stopped UCLA from perhaps putting this game out of touch.
They desperately need to get the ball down the field and into the end zone. Change their philosophy perhaps a little bit.
Well, here's Trudeau loosening up the arm. The flag is down, and Trudeau, that's a lateral pass.
Yes, it is.
And Noah
Still a play.
And Delacono makes the tackle finally, as everyone in a frozen motion waiting for the officials to blow the whistle. And finally, Lee Knowles and Jeff Chafin made the tackle. That was a lateral pass.
There was a flag down already, and I think everyone saw it. But at the same time, when he throws this football behind, the ball is live. Everybody just kind of standing out there. Now, the official did not blow the whistle. Rooks finally says, hey, maybe I better run with it. Delacono's up there in position. Pulled him down.
Illegal use of hands on the part of the offense declined. Third down.
So the penalty against Illinois obviously declined, as Illinois will lose the down and yardage on that backward pass.
The pass is ruled to be backward.
Rick Neuheisel, he said if he can't make it in professional football, he's on to law school.
Formation that the Illinois offense likes to use is a 3 wide receiver formation. They put 2 of them out to one side. David Williams, the man in the slot, they like to get it to him if they can.
Third down and 14, and it appears Trudeau changing the play at the line of scrimmage. And down he goes at the 14-yard line. Kenny Page, a senior from Colorado Springs.
Tom Hayes and Bob Field coordinate the defense for the UCLA Bruins. They put a few wrinkles of their own in. Kenny Page had been hurt, not expected to play today. You see him working at the top of your screen. Right there, he just blitzes by Kehoe, Scott Kehoe, 56, and puts the reps on the quarterback.
Sigourney's kick, a wobbly boot towards Sanchez, takes an Illinois bounce across the 45, and will be down at the UCLA 43-yard line. Now, at this stage of the 70th Rose Bowl encounter, UCLA in control, 21-3, 6 minutes left, first half. Kenny Page, they know where the cameras are, don't they? He showed a lot of speed for a 238-pounder in tracking down Trudeau. Illinois trailing 21-3. UCLA running against a team that allowed an average of only 2.4 yards per rush. The Bruins 5.3 average in this first half. That's part of the story of their success. Neuheisel, plenty of protection. And a short gain to Sherrard to the 45-yard line, a 2-yard pass, but that pass play will set a UCLA individual record. Mike Sherrard with 3 catches now today. That's 47 for the season, and breaks Cormac Carney's record of 46 set a year ago.
Chance to look back inside at the pursuit from the defensive line of the Illinois team, and look how they're stacked in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bodies on the line of scrimmage, and they get excellent pursuit from the inside from number 96 Thorpe, rolling out, trying to get past the Bergman, the tight end. He's driving from the outside, but they really made a fine play defensively there.
Kevin Nelson outside, and he's out of bounds at the UCLA 47-yard line. David Edwards, a senior from Decatur, Georgia. Make that a junior. Edwards, number 27, made the tackle.
Dick, in this 4-man defense, they put their defensive tackles off the ball and really kind of play them almost like linebackers. They're down a 4-point stance, a little bit like the Dallas Cowboys. Almost a flex kind of defense where they get people flowing, but they haven't been able to flow quite fast enough and hard enough to slow down this UCLA offense.
And they've got to dig in. The Bruins have a 21-3 lead with 5 minutes left in the half, and here's a critical 3rd down and 7. They're coming with a full blitz, and Neuheisel goes deep. Wide open is Young for another touchdown.
You saw Mike White say, we can't panic. We just got to go after them. We'd mentioned it early. When you blitz, you leave your defensive backs one-on-one. Number 4, Keith Taylor, trying to cover Mike Young one-on-one, and simply does not have the speed.
Maybe not the experience either. The only freshman back there.
He is a freshman back there, but it just looked like he couldn't keep up on the speed. And he's the fastest of those defensive backs.
Lee tacks on the extra point. Rick Neuheisel, flawless. You know, he had a great game against Washington when he went 25 for 27. That's an all-time NCAA record, nearly 93%. This is 9 for 9 for him, and 53 yards for the touchdown.
Well, and he's one of the players that they were concerned about. Came down with some food poisoning. He'll have to go back to that same restaurant before every game he plays.
The whole club may go back for an encore. What a perfect throw and wide open. Durrell has a touchdown, and now Young with a score, and he's not the fastest of the Bruin receivers. So a running score by Kevin Nelson. Neuheisel has thrown to his tight end Bergman, and then to his wide receivers Young and Durrell. Only Sherrard has been kept off the scoring column. It's 28-3 as Potter talks with head coach Terry Donahue.
I think Potter hurt his leg earlier on the tackle. We've mentioned that, and it looks like John Lee will be kicking off here. No, it's not John Lee.
It's number 50 for the Bruins, who is not on the master sheet.
Well, they've got 105 players here, Dick. They literally have 105 players in uniform, some of them without shoulder pads.
Well, no one expected to use him.
We'll find out who he is.
You bet. We will. In fact, we've called his attention to it. We've got 107 names on the list, but we don't have a number 50 for UCLA. Maybe changed the number at the last moment.
They have had to borrow some shoulder pads.
Well, this is his moment. He shows he's got a good leg. And again, Illinois will have to take it. It's Jeff Nowinski with a name not fitting that description on his back. Because on the back of his uniform, it's a different name.
It says Baton on the back of his uniform. Well, we'll find out. I don't think he expected to have a chance to take a bow on national TV today. Right now, Illinois with its back against the wall. Mike White has got to be shell-shocked on the sideline. He's got to get his offense moving here. They have not been able to take advantage of their #1 tool, the pass. In fact, it has become an enemy against them.
28-3 the score with 4:53 left, and now they go to the ground, and it's Rooks to the 26-yard line, a gain of 6 for a man who averaged almost 5.5 yards a carry throughout the Big Ten year. Only a sophomore, 215-pounder from St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, there you are on the sideline getting a little conversation about how you want to play the defense. That's the offense. They're the blockers right there. That's Duval Love with his back to us, in fact. Getting a little lecture on how they want to contain that defense, and it is a sophisticated defense.
2nd and 4 for Trudeau. And he completes one for a first down out to the 31-yard line to Scott Golden from Oriana, Illinois. A senior. Doug West made the tackle. First down, Illini. 4:10 left in the half.
Pitts coming from the outside again on the blitz. Late getting in there. Trudeau taking advantage. Getting the completion. Short reception and a first down.
Illinois was a favorite coming into the game. Mild favorite, but trails 28-3. Dumps it off the Rooks. See hit after a 2-yard gain by Lee Knowles. There was some question as to whether or not this junior, number 85, Knowles from Huntington Beach, California, would play today. Shaken up in practice during the week. Well, he was plenty healthy on that time.
Well, we have an identity. Steve Bate, backup quarterback, young man out of Torrance. He's just a sophomore. Now we've got him.
Wearing a number 50. You know that's not a quarterback number.
Well, they may have made that up special for him.
And again, the Illini foil. That's a loss as Knowles tackles Rooks at the 30. That's a loss of a couple. Make it a -4. And in comes the punting team for Illinois with 3 minutes left in the half.
No, we got another down, Dick. We got a third down here instead of a fourth.
All right, you're right. Third down, and
they're having enough trouble. Don't take it down away from them.
I apologize to Mike White. No, Illini from a spread. Trudeau going to be almost intercepted by Rogers again. No, that was Pitts, 47, closest to the ball. Delacono, 39, the linebacker from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, was pressuring Trudeau.
Trudeau taking his time on this play. It's a simple three-man rush against him with one linebacker coming, Doug West on the outside. Trudeau getting away here, but I think he feels the pressure. Delacono coming inside. Good punt
by Sigourney to Sanchez back at the UCLA 25. And he's dragged down at the 30-yard line. Tackle made by Cam Benson of Illinois. A reminder coming up next. National championship at stake. Unbeaten Nebraska's Cornhuskers with their Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier against the number 4th ranked Miami Hurricanes, a great defensive football team. Howard Schnellenberger, 50th annual Orange Bowl. Of course, all the special activities at halftime to boot. Coming up right after our Rose Bowl coverage here on NBC. 31-yard line, UCLA leading 28-3. 9 in a row for Neuheisel. Stays on the ground, and Nelson picks up 4 and hammered at the 35-yard line by Mark Butkus. David Edwards there as well.
Kind of play that you had seen if you had been watching this team throughout the season. Number 96 Thorpe there, 85 Johnson. Thorpe spinning around, getting back inside. Lots of people on the football, but they've just been outmanned in the secondary here today.
They like to run behind that right tackle, Deval Love, number 67. He's their biggest blocker, 273. Cephas doesn't find anything to the other side. At the 37-yard line, Mark Butkus and Darrell Thompson make the tackle, and Mike White with a eye at the scoreboard. 1:40 left in the half.
Gosh, you've got to be reaching in the bag for miracles right now. Not only are you down by 25 points, but your defensive team is on the field, and you can't score with your defense on the field.
3rd down and 4. White, while he was at California in 6 tries, could not defeat UCLA. 0-6 against the Bruins. 2 of those defeats to Donahue. Neuheisel looking for 10 in a row. He's got it. And a first down at the 48. Durrell, the receiver. 11 yards on the play, and they're picking on the freshman Keith Taylor.
Really doing a great job. They've scared them so much with those deep shots that they're playing deep and laying back. And now Neuheisel is able to go against the short routes and just pick up the first down there very easily.
Neuheisel may be going after some Rose Bowl record, 10 consecutive completions. He'll have to go to the book. Inside handoff to Wiley, the fullback, and he gets only a yard or 2 to midfield with 50 seconds left in the half, and UCLA, figuring you can't get too many points, will call timeout.
Tackle on that particular play by Don Thorpe. They need more than just a tackle now. They need to cough the ball loose and try and get some points on the board. They really have been hammered in this first quarter, the first half.
So on this magnificent weather day in Pasadena, California, let's take a break from the action. A timeout. 50 seconds left before the intermission. UCLA Bruins 28. The Fighting Illini of the Big Ten 3.
The Pacific 10 Conference.
They're champions this year. The UCLA Bruins in football will salute the Big Ten in the second half. Neuheisel, a first down. Make that second down now at the 50-yard line. 2nd and 8. Nelson, the ball carrier. Checking the ball as he was hammered hard. That Edwards is a hitter, came up from safety, number 27, to support Mark Butkus. Clock running.
We're going to have Mark's uncle, Dick Butkus, here talking with us at halftime briefly. He's got to be a little bit disappointed. The last time the Illini team was here on this turf in the Rose Bowl, they were winners, and he was wearing one of the winners' rings.
1964. 20 years ago, the Illini have waited a long time. Fumble on the snap, and UCLA calls on it with 13 seconds, 12 seconds, and apparently that will be the last play of this first half. No.
Thorpe looked to the sideline, said, do we want a timeout? Yes, we do, and they took it. Neuheisel did a good job. Dropped the football on the exchange, had to locate it, was able to get back and throw his body on top of it to protect it. Chance for you to look at it at home. Watch him just drop the snap here. I don't know whether he pulled away early or maybe got bumped, I guess, by one of the linemen. Looked like he just got bumped by someone's arm coming by. But you see him scrambling there and crawling on his hands and knees to get that football.
A lot of good family trees in this game. Illinois, Butkus with his uncle Dick. Chris White, of course, his dad, the coach of the Illini. Curtis Clark, who has had a big play on defense. His dad, Leon, an outstanding collegiate and NFL player. And UCLA even more in that department. Not bad idea to recruit the son of a famous football player, because they usually turn out pretty well, thank you. Butkus, of course, that name alone conjures up a solid defense, and he didn't make all Big Ten on name. Here's the UCLA lines. Elijah Pitts, the great runner with Green Bay. Kevin Nelson, his brother Darren, a #1 pick of the Vikings. Sherrard, we told you, his mother, a 1964 Olympian. But there's more. John Shinnick, a backup safety man. His dad, Don Shinnick, still holds the record in the NFL. Most interceptions by a linebacker, 37. Augie Donatelli, the umpire, that's his nephew, Doug Donatelli. Herb Welch, his dad, Herb, also played in the NFL. 7 seconds left. Steve Bono's punt to Passmore. No, Passmore had it taken right out of his hands by the up back Grant.
And that ends the first half.
A half that was all UCLA. But for a field goal by Chris White, it was the Bruins' Neuheisel, 3 touchdown passes, a run by Nelson for a score, and at the break, Bruins 28 off. And down 28-3. There should be no surprises for Terry Donahue's defense. Illinois has to do something. It's not an onside kick here. A short kick, however. Nelson. Oh, Durrell fumble, and UCLA, or is it Illinois? UCLA recovers, and that's the break that the Illini were looking for. It was bounding around, hit several players, but wound up in the grasp of a white-jerseyed Bruin.
I'm sure that part of the conversation in the locker room, let's go out there and make something happen for our side. Durrell just had that ball knocked loose. I believe it was Kevin Nelson. Kevin Nelson, number 3, not number 8. It might have been Pugh, number 18, who had a shot at that football. You see him coming back. I think he's the one that made the hit.
UCLA has the ball at the 23-yard line. 28-3 lead. The Illini fans down to our left on their feet, rooting for the defense. Nelson can't get outside. He gains maybe 1. Don Thorpe. Look at the speed of that 250-pounder.
Well, I don't know what they talked about, but they came out with some fire in the second half. Let's see if it pays off for them. They need to get the football, and most importantly, they need to get some points on the board.
UCLA, as you well know, for the last 2 years, this has been their home field, moving from the Coliseum, and they've lost only once in the 2 years here in the Rose Bowl as a home team, more familiar with the surroundings. Neuheisel, 10 out of the last 10, intercepted and dropped. Mike Weingrad had it for a moment. Intended for Sherrard.
And you saw the coaches on the sideline saying, all right, here we go now. Making the kinds of plays they need to make. Weingrad doing a good job of getting a hand on this football. He wanted to keep it, but he just couldn't get the other hand on it before it bounced on the ground. That's 2 near turnovers. Both of them would have been so eagerly accepted by Illinois. Let's see if they give a third opportunity.
Third down, almost the full 10 for the first down. On the ground to Nelson. And he's hammered at the 25. And the Illini defense has the Illinois supporters excited. They'll get the ball after 3 downs.
Excellent penetration by 53. Mark Butkus on that play to turn it back inside. 4th and long, an opportunity to get one of those punt returners down the field with it. Whatever they do, they will have an opportunity here. Let's see what the offense can do with it now.
Don Passmore is back at the Illini 30 as Bono will punt. Ooh, he scuffs it. And Grant, fair catch at the 40-yard line. Randy Grant, the up back. So Illinois with good field position at the 40-yard line after a 35-yard punt.
An excellent decision by Randy Grant. Had that ball hit the ground, it looked like it would have rolled down toward the Illinois end zone.
Now the Illini fired up break huddle. Jack Trudeau, their quarterback.
I wonder whether they'll run a little bit more in this act, Dick.
They certainly did not do much of that the first 30 minutes. Nope. Back throwing. Escaping Trudeau. Complete Beverly. A gain of about 9.
Was the man that he faked the handoff to initially, and Trudeau had to do some gymnastics of his own to escape the rush on that play. Doug West was blitzing on the play, had his arms around Trudeau in the backfield, and he was able to get away and complete the pass.
Tommy Taylor with the tackle.
There's the shot right there. He just ducked underneath the arm. Jeff Chapin, the other man back there chasing him.
Second down, a long one. Beverly. He has a first down at the UCLA 47. Beverly from Los Angeles Locke High School migrated, as did so many of these Illinois players, back to the Midwest from Southern California.
A real California connection, and those California guys are happy to be back here in the warm sunshine and happy to be playing in the Rose Bowl. Unhappy to look up and see the score so one-sided. They'd like to do something about it.
Well, a score on their first possession would certainly lift spirits. Trudeau, good protection. Searching. Open down the middle, and another drop. Beverly is the guilty party this time. That's 4 right on the money thrown by Trudeau that had been dropped by his receivers. No question about the strength of his arm, nor his accuracy. He's been on the money most of the day.
He certainly has some zippers that have been dropped on him, and this one should have been caught. An easy pass to catch. Beverly had all the time in the world. Goes down and kicks it away. Nobody even stepping down to look at him on that one. Delacono was the man who swept in from the outside and gave Trudeau something to think about on that play.
Second down, 10. Flag down before the snap. Five yards, illegal procedure against the Illini. There's the backup quarterback, Ken Cruz. And down the line, number 2, Chris Jenner, is the third-string quarterback.
Dead ball foul, illegal procedure, offense.
Jenner signals in the plays. They're called by Mike White with the help of Bob Gamble upstairs, and they're signaling. They do a good job from both sidelines of getting those offensive plays in via signal to the quarterbacks.
After the 5-yard penalty, 2nd and 15 for Trudeau. Open is the tight end, Tim Brewster, who had an excellent first half. He's short of the first down, tackled at the Bruin 41-yard line. 11 yards on the play. Lee Knowles made the tackle.
Brewster asking to come out. Apparently hit pretty hard on that particular play. Scott Davis going in, but you see him wide open. Got the football. Takes a shot from Lee Knowles there. I think maybe just shook him up a little bit. Went to the sideline. We'll see more of him.
5 catches today for Brewster. Third down. Call it 5. Trudeau is sacked, and another big defensive play. It's Doug West, a senior from Del Mar, California.
When we talked about the linebackers for UCLA early, 2 that we talked about were Delacono and West. We said they had to come through with a big performance today. Well, they've both been mentioned a great deal, and West had gone over the top of Trudeau earlier. He did not miss him on that play.
Gurney just does get his kick away, and it's a good one. Sanchez, surprisingly, fields the ball and falls on the 3-yard line.
And that's the kind of thing that gives a coach gray hairs on the sideline. Had he let that one go, it would have gone all the way to the end zone.
Sanchez electing to field it, losing his footing, and then slipping down. The play's dead right there when that right knee hits the turf. A brilliant 54-yard punt. The Bruins are in the hole in terms of field position, but it's the Illini that are playing catch-up, down 28-3. 28-3, UCLA with 11 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Mike White talking with his quarterback, Jeff Trudeau. White will celebrate a birthday tomorrow. Win or lose, it's going to be his 48th.
They haven't lost hope. You still see them plotting and scheming on the sideline. They need the football again quickly.
From the 3-yard line. And it's the fullback, Wiley, up the middle to about the 8, a gain of 5 in the grasp of Darrell Thompson, number 99.
Real battle. Duval Love, number 67. They're really in a dogfight down there. He's going up against, who is it, 92? That's Curtis Clark, hometown boy, trying to get a little bit of work on his own there. Stacking up Love. He still made a few yards, got a little breathing room out to about the 9-yard line.
Love, just a junior, 6'3" and 273. From Frank Cephas's view, number 46. He gets the ball. And he's close to, and does have a first down at the 15-yard line. Mo Bias made the tackle. So UCLA showing now by opening up the game with a pass and those sweeps early, Merlin. Now they're going inside.
Duval Love, right in the middle of your screen. You saw him getting submarined on the last play. A chance now as he slides inside, beats the count slightly, cuts Curtis Clark off, leaves Curtis Clark, and goes in to help on Don Thorpe. Thorpe getting driven out on that particular play. That's Chris Yelich, number 66, senior tri-captain. Boy, I'll tell you, he's quite a story, Dick.
He is. Didn't get to play in last year's Rose Bowl. Fullback is surrounded. Derek Tennell. No gain. You look at Mark Butkus on the sidelines working on that arm. Don Thorpe led the defensive charge of the Illini. Let's talk about Yelich a moment, number 66 of UCLA. He broke an ankle in the USC game, final game of the year, a year ago. So he was denied the Rose Bowl and then just didn't recover this year. Kept swelling up on him. Really didn't play much all season long. Finally got himself, now as a senior, himself ready, wearing number 66. And now, what an assignment, working against Thorpe or Butkus as a guard. Yelich from LaPorte, Indiana. Neuheisel has the man. Burrell open and a first down at the 27.
Accuracy is the name of the game. Neuheisel under pressure had to get rid of that ball. Threw before the receiver even turned back to look, but got it right on target. Carl Durrell turning around, finding the ball there, did what he was supposed to do. He caught it.
Boy, it's a well-conceived game plan by Terry Donahue.
Well, I'll give a little credit to Homer Smith, too, the resident genius.
He should be a head coach. He was the former head man at Army. He's been an assistant with Donahue. Oh, what a lick by number 94, and a flag goes down. Ron Baum gets Nelson and maybe got him too high. No, the signal is holding against UCLA.
Now that's the 10-yard penalty. That marks it back. I don't think there's any question about whether they're going to forego the penalty. They'll take it back to the previous spot, mark off the 10 yards.
That'll take it inside the 20-yard line.
Holding on the offense. Still first down.
The Illini adopted that child apparently for this Rose Bowl game. Yeah, UCLA.
They got a bigger mascot today, don't they? Maybe they little higher profile at the moment.
Neuheisel on 1st and 20. Little safety valve over the middle to Nelson, and he's hit at the 25. Boy, Neuheisel went down as he delivered the ball. 9 yards on the play. Archie Carter made the defensive play for Illinois.
We don't think about the kind of shots that quarterbacks take after the throw, but watch Neuheisel here. Gets the ball off, and now is just leveled. Darrell Thompson, number 99, knocking him down. And he's able to look up and see the completion. That's the payoff for him, but he does take some abuse on that play.
Number 24, Danny Andrews, replaces Kevin Nelson at running back. 2nd and 11. Oh, Neuheisel doing a good job of freeing himself and throwing long for Young. Mike Young all the way to the 32-yard line. Beat Keith Taylor, the rookie cornerback.
Mark Butkus had left the field with a hyperextended elbow, came back in, missed the tackle as he got in on Neuheisel. Neuheisel able to slip away from him, and you've got to wonder if maybe that elbow isn't bothering him. And Mark Young, just taking advantage of the time Neuheisel got by scrambling, is making it an even longer afternoon for Keith Taylor. Taylor not getting down deep on the play, and I think you hit it right earlier. Just inexperienced, Dick. The freshman not ready for that kind of contact on a day like today.
Well, Neuheisel hit Young 53 yards for a touchdown in the second quarter. Got 44 more on that throw. And suddenly Bruins, who started at their 3, are at the Illinois 32. And Cephas with a huge hole is all the way to the 13. Dwayne Pugh saved the touchdown. 19 yards for the senior from Newark, Delaware, Frank Cephas.
In a gambling defensive scheme, you hope that the big plays offset the plays that go against you. This is one of the big plays that goes against you. Thorpe had stunted to the outside. Linebacker stunted to the inside. Frank Cephas said, hey, I'll take advantage of that hole. They finally get him down. He's all the way inside the 15.
19-yard run. Nelson. Half the Illinois team making the stop after a gain of 3 or 4.
Well, it has to be so disheartening for a defense. They've made some big plays at the other end of the field, and yet here's UCLA right back knocking again, looking at another potential score. And how do you stop that? That's just tremendous acceleration, tremendous offensive performance.
9th play of this drive, and of course consuming the clock. You saw Mike White. He knows the score. He's watching that electronic monster chew away time that he needs to play catch up. Flag down as Frank Cephas plowing up the middle for 2 or 3 yards. Might have had an early start by one of the UCLA players. It is illegal motion. Let's introduce the officials. A bit late, but we want to give them credit. It's quite an honor for them to be selected from the 2 conferences. John Nealon, the referee, Walt Wolf, Richard Weiler, Larry Nemmers, Gaylord Bryan, Harvey Jones, and Tom Herbert working this game today.
They've done a good job of keeping this game under control, too. Emotional. You saw a couple of the players breaking loose early, a little bit of emotion, but they've done a good job of taking care of things.
There they are. It means a lot to them to be selected to work this famed Rose Bowl game. Richard Weiler, a double duty man. He's been in the Rose Bowl and also worked an NCAA championship or 2 in basketball. Second down and 12 for Neuheisel. Going deep for Bergman. Touchdown. No, he was out of bounds, they say. Did not get the foot down. You need only 1 foot down, of course, in the collegiate game. He was very close, but the official right on the spot saying, nope.
Rick Neuheisel picks himself up off the ground. I think he had sensed the potential there for a touchdown. Took every possible second he could take. Got the ball out there, and watch how close he comes to a touchdown here. Swope beaten in the corner of the end zone, but that foot just... Here's a place to see it. Watch the feet now. Needs 1 foot only in bounds. Hard to tell. Looked like it might have been on the line. It's got to be in bounds.
Third down and 12 from the 15. UCLA looking for more. Good protection. Open again. That's a touchdown. Durrell, his second of the game. And 4th by Neuheisel.
Perhaps Terry Donahue is asking himself why he waited so long to give Neuheisel a chance to play. On the other sideline, Mike White absolutely stunned. I think perhaps the most disappointment on the field right now, number 4, Keith Taylor. They got him again. 7 points. Neuheisel, does he know it's a touchdown? Watch him. He knew all the way.
He doesn't know that he's just put his name in the Rose Bowl record book. Lee kicks the extra point. That's the 4th touchdown pass by Neuheisel. That ties Pete Beathard, University of Southern California, against Wisconsin in that high-scoring game back in 1963. Neuheisel joins Beathard. It's 35-3. UCLA. Ships as a junior and senior in Tempe, Arizona. 4 touchdown passes. We'll hear his feelings about being in this Rose Bowl after a non-recruit, a walk-on at UCLA. Trudeau off some play action. Out to Rooks, who's tackled short of the first down. Rick Neuheisel, it's been his day. It's been a great year for him. One of the top 10 passers in the country. And he looked and anticipated and enjoyed this thrill of playing in Pasadena.
One more time.
I decided to come to UCLA. This was always the dream that I had. And now that it's realized, it's just something that is still hard for me to believe. But when I run onto the field and see the rows on the 50-yard line, it'll hit me.
Well, he has seen that Rose on the field. It's not only hit him, he's hit Illinois.
I was going to say, he's hit those receivers, and he's hit them in the end zone. And the team that we had expected to see passing so successfully today, Illinois, has not been able to do it. Neuheisel and the Bruins, and not to say that they were not expected to pass. They're a passing team, too. But they have indeed stolen all the honors today. And they have put the results on the scoreboard where they lead 35-3.
Illinois looking for first down yardage and picked up just enough from Thomas Rooks. But that kind of play is almost a moral victory for the UCLA defense, as the clock, as soon as they mark the first down, will start again, and there's under 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
Dick, as you get into this point of the game, you almost begin to play for a little pride. Illinois needing some points on the board. They don't like the lopsided edge they see when they look up.
For 92, Frank Batchkoff, a freshman from Reseda, California, into the lineup now for UCLA. Trudeau off some play action, guns the ball to Williams. And David Williams has what appears to be a first down out at the 41-yard line. 10 yards in the play. Until this series, UCLA almost 4-1 in offense, over 400 yards for the Bruins, just over 100 yards for Illinois. And Steve Bono, who was the regular quarterback, Neuheisel was benched in the middle of the season after that rough start. Bono took over, had a big game, and then he was injured a shoulder, and he has not returned since. He's from Tommy Lasorda, the Dodgers manager's home base, Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Old friend of ours, Ben Agajanian, one of the kicking legends of the NFL there on this sideline. He does some work with UCLA, giving Bono a pat on the back. We've seen Bono as a punter, of course, today.
First down for the Illini, but they trailed 35-3 late in the third quarter. Trudeau extricates himself and almost gets it to Beverly. A good effort by Trudeau, who little extracurricular activity as Frank Batchkoff had him on the ground, and Trudeau wanted to get up.
Well, that's the first time we've seen some emotion out of Trudeau today. He's really a cool customer. In fact, Bobby Gamble, who works with him, said, I wish he would lose his cool a little bit more at times. I think sometimes he's too controlled. But this is a situation where he finally does. Scrambles, gets away from one, gets away from a second, goes to the ground here. Oh, he didn't like that right at the end. No, I don't blame him. Now, he got even, though. He got an elbow back in there.
Batchkoff said, who, me? Intercepted, yes. Joe Gasser picked it right off his shoe tops at the Illinois 45, and the Bruins had their third interception of the game.
What a painful afternoon. It all comes down on your shoulders, playing a leveraged offense. Trying to live by the pass virtually by itself, and they have paid the price with interceptions today.
And I believe we'll have a new UCLA quarterback when we return to the Rose Bowl. 4 minutes left, third quarter. Side, but with a creative turn to the outside, able to turn that one up for 4 or 5 yards. Ed Brady made. And down 28-3. There should be no surprises for Terry Donahue's defense. Illinois has to do something. It's not an onside kick here. A short kick, however. Nelson. Oh, Durrell fumble, and UCLA, or is it Illinois? UCLA recovers, and that's the break that the Illini were looking for. It was bounding around, hit several players, but wound up in the grasp of a white jerseyed Bruin.
I'm sure that part of the conversation in the locker room, let's go out there and make something happen for our side. Durrell just had that ball knocked loose. I believe it was Kevin Nelson. Kevin Nelson, number 3, not number 8. Might have been Pugh, number 18, who had a shot at that football. You see him coming back. I think he's the one that made the hit.
UCLA has the ball at the 23-yard line. 28-3 lead. The Illini fans down to our left on their feet, rooting for the defense. Nelson can't get outside. He gains maybe one. Don Thorpe. Look at the speed of that 250-pounder.
Well, I don't know what they talked about, but they came out with some fire in the second half. Let's see if it pays off for them. They need to get the football, and most importantly, they need to get some points on the board.
UCLA, as you well know, for the last 2 years, this has been their home field, moving from the Coliseum, and they've lost only once in the 2 years here in the Rose Bowl. As a home team, more familiar with the surroundings. Neuheisel, 10 out of the last 10, intercepted and dropped. Mike Weingrad had it for a moment. Intended for Sherrard.
And you saw the coaches on the sideline saying, all right, here we go now. Making the kinds of plays they need to make. Weingrad doing a good job of getting a hand on this football. He wanted to keep it, but he just couldn't get the other hand on it before it bounced on the ground. That's 2 near turnovers. Both of them would have been so eagerly accepted by Illinois. Let's see if they give a third opportunity.
Third down, almost the full 10 for the first down. On the ground to Nelson. And he's hammered at the 25. And the Illini defense has the Illinois supporters excited. They'll get the ball after 3 downs.
Excellent penetration by 53 Mark Butkus on that play to turn it back inside. 4th and long, an opportunity to get one of those punt returners down the field with it. Whatever they do, they will have an opportunity here. Let's see what the offense can do with it now.
Don Passmore is back at the Illini 30 as Bono will punt. Ooh, he scuffs it. And Grant, fair catch at the 40-yard line. Randy Grant, the upback. So Illinois with good field position at the 40-yard line after a 35-yard punt.
An excellent decision by Randy Grant. Had that ball hit the ground, it looked like it would have rolled down toward the Illinois end zone.
Now the Illini fired up break huddle. Jack Trudeau, their quarterback.
I wonder whether they'll run a little bit more in this act, Dick.
They certainly did not do much of that the first 30 minutes. Nope, back throwing. Escaping Trudeau, complete Beverly. A gain of about 9.
Was the man that he faked the handoff to initially, and Trudeau had to do some gymnastics of his own to escape the rush on that play. Doug West was blitzing on the play, had his arms around Trudeau in the backfield, and he was able to get away and complete the pass.
Tommy Taylor with a tackle.
There's the shot right there. He just ducked underneath the arm. Jeff Chapin, the other man back there chasing him.
Second down, a long one. Beverly. He has a first down at the UCLA 47. Beverly from Los Angeles Locke High School migrated, as did so many of these Illinois players, back to the Midwest from Southern California.
Real California connection, and those California guys are happy to be back here in the warm sunshine and happy to be playing in the Rose Bowl. Unhappy to look up and see the score so one-sided. They'd like to do something about it.
Fail to score on their first possession. It certainly lifts spirits. Trudeau, good protection. Searching. Open down the middle, and another drop. Beverly is the guilty party this time. That's 4 right on the money thrown by Trudeau that had been dropped by his receivers. No question about the strength of his arm, nor his accuracy. He's been on the money most of the day.
He certainly has some zippers that have been dropped on him, and this one should have been caught. An easy pass to catch. Beverly had all the time in the world. Goes down and kicks it away. Nobody even stepping down to look at him on that one. Delacono was the man who swept in from the outside and gave Trudeau something to think about on that play.
Second down, 10. Flag down before the snap. 5 yards, illegal procedure against the Illini. There's the backup quarterback, Ken Cruz. And down the line, number 2, Chris Jenner, is the third-string quarterback.
Dead ball foul, illegal procedure, offense.
Jenner signals in the plays. They're called by Mike White with the help of Bob Gamble upstairs, and they're signaling. They do a good job from both sidelines of getting those offensive plays in via signal to the quarterbacks.
After the 5-yard penalty, 2nd and 15 for Trudeau. Open is the tight end, Tim Brewster, who had an excellent first half. He's short of the first down, tackled at the Bruin 41-yard line. 11 yards on the play. Lee Knowles made the tackle.
Brewster asking to come out. Apparently hit pretty hard on that particular play. Scott Davis going in, but you see him wide open. Got the football. Takes a shot from Lee Knowles there. I think maybe just shook him up a little bit. Went to the sideline. We'll see more of him.
5 catches today for Brewster. 3rd down. Call it 5. Trudeau is sacked, and another big defensive play. It's Doug West, a senior from Del Mar, California.
When we talked about the linebackers for UCLA early, 2 that we talked about were Delacono and West. We said they had to come through with a big performance today. Well, they've both been mentioned a great deal, and West had gone over the top of Trudeau earlier. He did not miss him on that play.
Sigourney just does get his kick away, and it's a good one. Sanchez, surprisingly, fields the ball and falls on the 3-yard line.
And that's the kind of thing that gives a coach gray hairs on the sideline. Had he let that one go, it would have gone all the way through the end zone.
Sanchez electing to field it, losing his footing, and then slipping down. The play's dead right there when that right knee hits the turf. A brilliant 54-yard punt. The Bruins are in the hole in terms of field position, but it's the Illini that are playing catch-up, down 28-3. 28-3, UCLA with 11 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Mike White talking with his quarterback, Jack Trudeau. White will celebrate a birthday tomorrow. Win or lose, it's going to be his 48th.
They haven't lost hope. You still see them plotting and scheming on the sideline. They need the football again quickly.
From the 3-yard line. And it's the fullback, Wiley, up the middle to about the 8. A gain of 5 in the grasp of Darrell Thompson, number 99.
Real battle. Duval Love, number 67. They're really in a dogfight down there. He's going up against, who is it, 92? That's Curtis Clark, hometown boy, trying to get a little bit of work on his own there. Stacking up Love. He still made a few yards, got a little breathing room out to about the 9-yard line.
Love, just a junior, 6'3" and 273. From Frank Cephas's view, number 46. He gets the ball. And he's close to, and does have, a first down at the 15-yard line. Mo Bias made the tackle. So UCLA showing now by opening up the game with a pass and those sweeps early, Merlin. Now they're going inside.
Duval Love, right in the middle of your screen. You saw him getting submarined on the last play. A chance now as he slides inside, beats the count slightly, cuts Curtis Clark off, leaves Curtis Clark, and goes in to help on Don Thorpe. Thorpe getting driven out on that particular play. That's Chris Yelich, number 66, senior tri-captain. Boy, I'll tell you, he's quite a story, Dick.
He is. Didn't get to play in last year's Rose Bowl. Fullback is surrounded. Derek Tennell. No gain. You look at Mark Butkus on the sidelines working on that arm. Don Thorpe led the defensive charge of the Illini. Let's talk about Yelich a moment, number 66 of UCLA. He broke an ankle in the USC game, final game of the year, a year ago. So he was denied the Rose Bowl and then just didn't recover this year. Kept swelling up on him. Really didn't play much all season long. Finally got himself, now as a senior, himself ready, wearing number 66. And now, what an assignment, working against Thorpe or Butkus as a guard. Yelich from Fort Indiana. Neuheisel has the man. Durrell open and a first down at the 27.
Accuracy is the name of the game. Neuheisel under pressure had to get rid of that ball. Threw before the receiver even turned back to look, but got it right on target. Carl Durrell turning around, finding the ball there, did what he was supposed to do. He caught it.
course, a well-conceived game plan by Terry Donahue.
Well, I'll give a little credit to Homer Smith, too, the resident genius.
He should be a head coach. He was the former head man at Army. He's been an assistant with Donahue. Oh, what a lick by number 94. And a flag goes down. Ron Baum gets Nelson and maybe got him too high. No, the signal is holding against UCLA.
Now, that's the 10-yard penalty. That marks it back. I don't think there's any question about whether they're going to forego the penalty. They'll take it back to the previous spot, mark off the 10 yards.
That'll take it inside the 20-yard line.
Holding on the offense. Still first down.
The Illini adopted that child apparently for this Rose Bowl game. Yeah, UCLA.
They got a bigger mascot today, don't they? Maybe they little higher profile at the moment.
Neuheisel on 1st and 20. Little safety valve over the middle to Nelson, and he's hit at the 25. Boy, Neuheisel went down as he delivered the ball. 9 yards on the play. Archie Carter made the defensive play for Illinois.
We don't think about the kind of shots that quarterbacks take after the throw, but watch Neuheisel here. Gets the ball off, and now is just leveled. Darrell Thompson, number 99, knocking him down, and he's able to look up and see the completion. That's the payoff for him, but he does take some abuse on that play.
Number 24, Danny Andrews, replaces Kevin Nelson at running back. 2nd and 11. Oh, Neuheisel doing a good job of freeing himself and throwing long for Young. Mike Young all the way to the 32-yard line. Beat Keith Taylor, the rookie cornerback.
Mark Butkus had left the field with a hyperextended elbow, came back in, missed the tackle as he got in on Neuheisel. Neuheisel able to slip away from him, and you've got to wonder if maybe that elbow isn't bothering him. And Mark Young, just taking advantage of the time Neuheisel got by scrambling, is making it an even longer afternoon for Keith Taylor. Taylor not getting down deep on the play, and I think you hit it right earlier. Just inexperienced, Dick. The freshman not ready for that kind of contact on a day like today.
Well, Neuheisel hit Young 53 yards for a touchdown in the second quarter. Got 44 more on that throw. And suddenly Bruins, who started at their 3, are at the Illinois 32. And Cephas with a huge hole is all the way to the 13. Dwayne Pugh saved the touchdown. 19 yards for the senior from Newark, Delaware, Frank Cephas.
In a gambling defensive scheme, you hope that the big plays offset the plays that go against you. This is one of the big plays that goes against you. Thorpe had stunted to the outside. Linebacker stunted to the inside. Frank Cephas said, hey, I'll take advantage of that hole. They finally get him down. He's all the way inside the 15.
19-yard run. Nelson. Half the Illinois team making the stop after a gain of 3 or 4.
Well, it has to be so disheartening for a defense. They've made some big plays at the other end of the field, and yet here's UCLA right back knocking again, looking at another potential score. And how do you stop that? That's just tremendous acceleration, tremendous offensive performance.
9th play of this drive, and of course consuming the clock. You saw Mike White. He knows the score. He's watching that electronic monster chew away time that he needs to play catch-up. Flag down as Frank Cephas plowing up the middle for 2 or 3 yards. Might have had an early start by one of the UCLA players. It is illegal motion. Let's introduce the officials. A bit late, but we want to give them credit. It's quite an honor for them to be selected from the 2 conferences. John Nealon, the referee, Walt Wolf, Richard Weiler, Larry Nemmers, Gaylord Bryan, Harvey Jones, and Tom Herbert working this game today.
They've done a good job of keeping this game under control, too. Emotional. You saw a couple of the players breaking loose early, a little bit of emotion, but they've done a good job of taking care of things.
There they are. That means a lot to them to be selected to work this famed Rose Bowl game. Richard Weiler, a double duty man. He's been in the Rose Bowl and also worked an NCAA championship or 2 in basketball. Second down and 12 for Neuheisel. Going deep for Bergman. Touchdown. No, he was out of bounds, they say. Did not get the foot down. You need only 1 foot down, of course, in the collegiate game. He was very close, but the official right on the spot saying, nope.
Rick Neuheisel picks himself up off the ground. I think he had sensed the potential there for a touchdown. Took every possible second he could take. Got the ball out there, and watch how close he comes to a touchdown here. Swope beaten in the corner of the end zone, but that foot just, here's a place to see it. Watch the feet now. Needs 1 foot only in bounds. Hard to tell. Looked like it might have been on the line. It's got to be in bounds.
Third down and 12 from the 15. UCLA looking for more. Good protection. Open again. That's a touchdown. Durrell, his second of the game. And 4th by Neuheisel.
And perhaps Terry Donahue is asking himself why he waited so long to give Neuheisel a chance to play on the other sideline. Mike White absolutely stunned. I think perhaps the most disappointment on the field right now, number 4, Keith Taylor. They got him again. 7 points. Neuheisel, does he know it's a touchdown? Watch him. He knew all the way.
He doesn't know that he's just put his name in the Rose Bowl record book. Lee kicks the extra point. That's the 4th touchdown pass by Neuheisel. That ties Pete Beathard, University of Southern California, against Wisconsin in that high-scoring game back in 1963. Neuheisel joins Beathard. It's 35-3. UCLA. Shifts as a junior and senior in Tempe, Arizona. 4 touchdown passes. We'll hear his feelings about being in this Rose Bowl after a non-recruit, a walk-on at UCLA. Trudeau off some play action. Out to Rooks, who's tackled short of the first down. Rick Neuheisel, it's been his day. It's been a great year for him. One of the top 10 passers in the country. And he looked and anticipated and enjoyed this thrill of playing in Pasadena.
One more time.
I decided to come to UCLA. This was always the dream that I had, and now that it's realized, it's just something that is still hard for me to believe. But when I run onto the field and see the Rose on the 50-yard line, it'll hit me.
Well, he has seen that Rose on the field. It's not only hit him, he's hit Illinois.
I was going to say, he's hit those receivers, and he's hit them in the end zone. And the team that we had expected to see passing so successfully today, Illinois, has not been able to do it. Neuheisel and the Bruins, and not to say that they were not expected to pass. They're a passing team, too. But they have indeed stolen all the honors today. They have put the results on the scoreboard with a lead 35-3.
Illinois looking for first down yardage and picked up just enough from Thomas Rooks. But that kind of play is almost a moral victory for the UCLA defense, as the clock, as soon as they mark the first down, will start again, and there's under 5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Dick, as you get into this point of the game, you almost begin to play for a little pride. Illinois needing some points on the board. They don't like the lopsided edge they see when they look up.
Number 92, Frank Batchkoff, a freshman from Reseda, California, into the lineup now for UCLA. Trudeau off some play action, guns the ball to Williams. And David Williams has what appears to be a first down out at the 41-yard line. 10 yards in the play. Until this series, UCLA almost 4-1 in offense. Over 400 yards for the Bruins, just over 100 yards for Illinois. And Steve Bono, who was the regular quarterback. Neuheisel was benched in the middle of the season after that rough start. Bono took over, had a big game, And then he was injured a shoulder, and he has not returned since. He's from Tommy Lasorda, the Dodgers manager's home base, Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Old friend of ours, Ben Agajanian, one of the kicking legends of the NFL there on this sideline. He does some work with UCLA, giving Bono a pat on the back. We've seen Bono as a punter, of course, today.
First down for the Illini, but they trailed 35-3 late in the third quarter. Trudeau extricates himself and almost gets it to Beverly. A good effort by Trudeau, who little extracurricular activity as Frank Batchkov had him on the ground, and Trudeau wanted to get up.
Well, that's the first time we've seen some emotion out of Trudeau today. He's really a cool customer. In fact, Bobby Gamble, who works with him, said, I wish he would lose his cool a little bit more at times. I think sometimes he's too controlled. This is a situation where he finally does. Scrambles, gets away from one, gets away from a second, goes to the ground here. Oh, he didn't like that right at the end. No, I don't blame him. Now, he got even, though. He got an elbow back in there.
Batchkov said, who, me? Intercepted, yes. Joe Gasser picked it right off his shoe tops at the Illinois 45, and the Bruins have their third interception of the game.
Painful afternoon. It all comes down on your shoulders playing a leveraged offense, trying to live by the pass virtually by itself, and they have paid the price with interceptions today.
And I believe we'll have a new UCLA quarterback when we return to the Rose Bowl. 4 minutes left, third quarter. Inside, but with a creative turn to the outside, able to turn that one up for 4 or 5 yards. Ed Brady made the tackle for Illinois. It's interesting that these two coaches, when you ask them about their influences as a head coach, the first names that came up, Mike White said, well, you know, Pete Newell, the basketball coach at California. He was a junior varsity basketball player at Cal Berkeley in his playing days, and also an end on the football team. Pete Newell helped me with my organization and how to work with personnel. And for Terry Donahue, first name he came up with was John Wooden. He said, my first year, Coach Wooden, UCLA's Wizard, was so helpful in getting me to think through all the problems that fall on the head coach's shoulders. Said, I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but here are some ideas. You pick out the ones you like.
Mike White wishing today, perhaps, that he'd had a little more help from someone like a Bill Arnsparger. And Terry Donahue hasn't had any trouble getting his offense on track, and his defense has played extremely well. And we talked to you about the adversity. He has certainly done a great job and deserves a great deal of credit for the success that his team is enjoying here in the Rose Bowl this afternoon. And Dick, getting kind of dark down there. Lights on, have been for quite a while.
3:15 left in the third quarter. UCLA with another interception, driving to build on their 35-3 lead. Cephas, some fancy running, and finally down. He stepped out of bounds back at the 18-yard line. But Cephas, the senior, in his last game, really giving a lot of second effort.
When it rains, it pours. Frank Cephas and these UCLA players reveling in their lead, enjoying their moment in the spotlight. Coming right over, jumps past Mike Heaven, number 9, hurdles his own. That was Tennell, Derek Tennell, gets out of Swope's tackle and then fights for the extra yardage before he's finally buried on the sideline by Archie Carter, number 84.
First down UCLA inside the 18. Clock stopped at 3:04. Third quarter. They run the short side to Nelson, and he gains 3 to the 15-yard line. Mike Heaven, Jr. from Delray Beach, Florida, made the tackle.
Duval loves signaling. Nelson on the ground, and he may have cramps. It looks like he has cramps in the backs of his legs. Duval has got his toes tipped back.
UCLA's 60th play. They've dominated possession and the score 35-3. A break in the action, 2:49 remaining in the third quarter.
You've never seen anything like it because there's never been anything like it. Introducing the total.
Well, rightfully, the day should end on such a magnificent sunset, an 84-degree afternoon, warmest ever for this date in Southern California. We'll have a little fun now. This game, of course, being televised around the world, including live to Japan. Let's listen how they call this second down and 7 at the 15.
本来のそのディフェンス見せてほしいですよね。
そうですね。ここでしっかり頑張らないとね。
さてニューハイゼルまたタッチダウンパスを狙った。惜しくも不成功です。
クォーターバックのニューハイゼル、イリノイの4番ディフェンスバックテイラーが非常に調子が悪いというのを狙ってですね、そこをボンボン投げてきますね。
さあ再び NBC のサービスで我々の放送席が映っています。かなり暗くなりましたローズボール。
放送席ですね。
Now it's third down.
I understood all of that, didn't you, Dick?
Absolutely. Young just missed as Neuheisel went for the touchdown. 103,217 here at the Rose Bowl, and that's Frank Cephas to about the 12-yard line. That'll be short of the first down. And with a 35-3 lead, in comes John Lee to try a field goal for UCLA. I guess either way here, you might be accused of pouring it on. You put your offense on their fourth down, and they make a first down and another touchdown, so they're going to go for the 3.
Let's give some credit to some young men who got All-Pro or All-Pac-10 recognition on the season. Bergman, Delacono, Love, Nelson, Rogers, Sanchez, Sherrard. They really did get a bunch of their players on the first team of the Pac-10 teams, and as they deserve to.
Lee punches that one home, and UCLA has 3 more. John Lee makes it 38-3 Bruins. Joe Gasser's interception leading to an additional field goal. I want to say also along with us, Mike White. A lonely time for the headmaster of Illinois. Although he's had a great year, it's not been a good day. Steve Baden, number 50, quarterback, kicking for Potter. Done a good job. Line drives this one, however, to Joe Miles. 25, 30. And Miles, the backup fullback, runs that way all the way to the 39.
Joe Miles, the special teams captain. Very unselfish in the way he has handled himself during this season, during his career at Illinois. Chance to watch the coverage. UCLA is not afraid to come down still. They haven't slacked up a bit. Look at him coming down, blowing in there, going right after him. Miles doing a good job there. Out of one tackle. Pitts finally gets a hammer on him, gets him down.
Trudeau still at quarterback. Completes to Benson to the 46-yard line. Lupe Sanchez, All Coast performer, makes the tackle. Big Ten. Illinois winning the championship, and justifiably all of these members of the Fighting Illini making the all-conference first team. And you can see 3 of those men will be back. Babiar, Chiriga on the right side of the line. Swope, the sophomore safety. To Williams, hit immediately at the 48. That will be very close to a first down. Tackle made by Chucky Miller, who was just a freshman from Long Beach, California.
There's not a great deal to be happy about for Illinois fans, but one thing they can be enthused about is the fact that most of this team comes back. The 2 areas that they are going to have to rebuild, however, the defensive line and the linebackers. 9 of those good linebackers are seniors. And of course, Thorpe and Butkus are seniors.
3rd and 1. Trudeau throws back across the field to Rooks. Good move, and he has a first down at the UCLA 40. Lee Knowles made the tackle. The clock running. We're in the final half minute of this 3rd quarter.
One of the things that makes football such a great game is that it's got to be played down on the floor of the arena itself. You only have one chance to call the shots. Mike White's been calling the plays all day. This particular play very successful to Rooks, who picks up 12 yards. But I'm sure if you could allow Mike the opportunity to go back and review his calls on the day, he'd make a lot of changes in his game plan.
Williams, and the pass too long for him. You think he might have, if he could second guess himself, that he would have run the ball earlier more? He really didn't challenge the Bruin defense with the run.
Dick, I think one of the things that made his team and made him so successful during this season was the fact that he had such good balance between the passing game and the running game. And really, it's the first time at Illinois that he's had the good running game. He did not use it today. He elected instead to go right after the juggler, to go at the throat of UCLA to try and hit the quick touchdowns. He has not been able to do that. It's backfired on him.
Closing of the third quarter, 38-3 UCLA. 2nd and 10. Complete to Williams. 25. And he's to the 20-yard line. Out of bounds at the 21, they say the footstep. Gasser made the tackle. 19-yard gain. And Illinois with its deepest drive of the game.
That's the kind of play that worked very successfully for the Illini during the season. Crossing pattern. Williams coming underneath, taking the pass, and then using his speed and running ability to get a little more yardage on the play. Great necktie tackle on that one. Joe Gasser. I don't blame him for being a little upset, although there was a legal tackle.
There's a double foul, personal foul, so that does not change the position of the ball. One negating the other at the 21-yard line. 6 seconds left in this third quarter. Yep. They're feeding a happy tune on that UCLA side.
Not many of these Illinois fans leaving. A lot of orange left in this stadium.
And they're down at the Illinois end of the field. The fans on their feet. Trudeau drilling it. Knowles makes the tackle. David Williams with another catch for short yardage. And that is the end of the third quarter here at the Pasadena Rose Bowl. 38-3 the score. We'll be back after these messages from your local stations. And so it is with the Rose Bowl. Illinois opens the fourth quarter. Its deepest penetration into UCLA territory. It's a 2nd down, and Rooks drives to the 13-yard line. Close to a first down. Frank Batchkoff, freshman end, makes the tackle. 38-3 UCLA. Here are the other numbers. Rushing Illinois, -1. Of course, the passing sacks figure in the rushing total.
They detract from it tremendously, as you can see. But all of the yardage made in the air for Illinois. UCLA, look at those numbers. They have balanced things out today, and that's the kind of balance we had expected to see from Illinois.
They're going for a Rose Bowl record total passes in a game, these two teams. 63 have been thrown already. Rooks has the first down, and he's at the UCLA 5-yard line. 1st and goal for the Illini. The Rose Bowl record set back in early 60s. SC in Wisconsin, 69 passes.
Saw Chris block nose tackle, working one-on-one on Bob Miller, the center. Miller did a good job of opening a hole there, and Thomas Rooks knew what to do with it. Got himself down, got a position, and finally looks like unless they falter a bit, they may have a chance to get a touchdown, Dick.
Trudeau's going to throw for it to Rooks. Touchdown. Two men who hope to return to this game, sophomores Trudeau and Rooks, and the Illini have their first touchdown.
And Illinois fans and players and coaches finally have something to celebrate.
We'll see if they go for 2 points.
That was Tom Hayes, the defensive coordinator, on the sideline saying, hey, we better get organized a little bit. We don't want to give up that many points.
They're going to go for the 2. Trudeau throwing to Rooks this side, and he drops the ball. The flag is down.
We may have a penalty, interference penalty against the defense.
They're pointing at the UCLA deep defense.
We have offensive pass interference on the offense.
Right on the call.
Try, no good.
No good. The score remains 38-9. Let's see the touchdown again.
Give you a chance to watch the successful play-action pass. A little bit of a fake to Beverly. Rooks had broken to the outside. He's all by himself as he gets into the corner of the end zone.
That's the 64th pass of the game, just 5 shy of the record set by USC and Wisconsin back in 1963. Plenty of time left, fourth quarter, 38-9. Lights were out in the first half for Illinois, but they're trying to cosmetically improve that score, 38-9. We'll see if the onside kick. Chris White, UCLA has crowded several of their receiving players up toward that 50-yard line. Nope, kicks it straight away. Durrell at the 4. And Carl Durrell is at the 19, and a flag goes down. Let's recap that. For those of you who have joined us late, here's how the scoring developed. UCLA, after a fumble recovery, Neuheisel to Bergman 7-0. Chris White early in the second quarter cut it to 7-3 with a 41-yard Illinois field goal. But then the Bruins. It was Nelson ripping up the middle 28 yards to make it 14-3. Then after a Rogers interception, Neuheisel to Durrell, a 16-yard touchdown. Then a 53-yard touchdown, Neuheisel to Young, 28-3 at the half. Then Neuheisel to Durrell again, 15 yards, third quarter, 35-3, a John Lee field goal. And finally, Illinois, Trudeau to Rooks, a 5-yard pass, 38-9. That's where we stand with just under 14 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
Dick, while you were busy catching us up, the officials announced a clipping penalty against UCLA that moved them back inside the 10-yard line. So with a turnover here, they would have excellent field position for Illinois.
Boy, it's 8 o'clock in Miami. I bet things are teeming there. That Orange Bowl is packed with Nebraska and Miami fans. Frank Cephas staying inbound. There was a senior play. He realized that it's the clock now that's the enemy of Illinois. Mark Butkus made the tackle. Deep 3, and he's slow getting up.
Hyperextended elbow, and he's had a bad knee for a good part of the season. Playing on it. It's the knee, I think, that's bothering him there. Most of the players on both of these teams, Dick, wear protective knee braces to protect their legs. And the Illinois strength coach was telling me that they have had very good luck using special programs to protect the knees and using some special braces. They have managed to get away with just 2 slight knee injuries on the season. One of those injuries, though, to Butkus, who's been playing hurt for a good part of the year.
Let's credit that senior Frank Cephas with a fine afternoon in his finale as a collegian. 78 yards. He leads all rushers in the game. Number 46, who picked up about 8 on that last carry. It's Cephas again. Out to the 18-yard line. Might be short of the first down by a yard. 84. Archie Carter in on the bottom of the pile for Illinois.
One of the things that Terry Donahue has done in this game, and it's very interesting that he was able to pull it off. He's alternated his guards on those 2 big tackles inside, knowing that Butkus and Thorpe were so important to that defense. He's run fresh guards in and out of the game during the entire day, and they have indeed done an excellent job of blocking on the interior strength of Illinois.
Third down and 1. You see Harper Howell, the zoom tight end, in motion. And it's Kevin Nelson. First down at the 21-yard line. And with 12:21, the Bruins have another 4 downs. Brady and Taylor made the tackle. We pause briefly from Pasadena for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
With Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg at the Rose Bowl. Stay tuned, NBC, the Orange Bowl, Nebraska and Miami to follow. The Bruins all the way this afternoon on the warmest day ever on a January 2nd in Southern California, 38-3, a red-hot offense directed by Rick Neuheisel. First down at the 21 of UCLA. And it's Cephas right into the strength of the Illinois defense for 5 more before Ron Baum, number 94, can make the stop.
Strategy now for UCLA, simply run the football, run out the clock, keep it in bounds, try and keep your first downs going, but mostly just keep that clock turning. And looks like Cephas may have hurt himself on that last play, Dick, heading for the sideline.
The Illini, who allowed the opponents less than 100 yards rushing per game, and Cephas almost has that total himself this afternoon. Kevin Nelson cutting back inside to about the 27-yard line, where it will be third down about 3. Tony Scarcelli. Don Thorpe made the tackle.
Nick, even though this has been a very disappointing game for the Illinois team, they brought 95 players out. Normally you travel with about 60, but they brought the whole team. They brought the red shirts as well. And even in a losing experience, they really have had a good time out here. It's something that they will remember. But I think if you could put your head on the sideline with them right now, they're thinking about next year already. And on the UCLA sideline, they're not only proud of today, but they're thinking about next year. You know, they've got a lot of fine red shirts waiting to get a chance to get some action. And the way they played today, they're going to be tough next year.
Well, there's one of them who will be back. Carl Durrell, just a sophomore, had 21 catches during the year. He's had a big Rose Bowl game. Keith Taylor made the stop. Durrell in this contest now with 5 catches, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. Steve Bono will inherit the quarterback duties from Rick Neuheisel. And Bono, a highly recruited player out of Pennsylvania, a prep All-America. He'll be a senior next year. The underdogs won 2 of the 3 games today, and very nearly the 3rd. Pittsburgh lost when favored Ohio State scored in the final minute. The Orange Bowl will be next. We're going to go to NFL 83 or New York Control 83 for this report. Coming up at the Orange Bowl, Heisman Trophy winner Mike Rozier is ready to lead #1 Nebraska against Miami of Florida as they bid for the national championship of college football. Now back to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. All right, Don Crickey, John Brody, they'll have the call for you from the Orange Bowl. Neuheisel wide open on this side, but he overshoots Danny Andrews. He had his back swinging into the flat. And that'll bring up 3rd down for UCLA and about 7.
Control pass, virtually a long handoff. Well thrown. Neuheisel, as we said earlier, an accurate passer, has thrown it extremely well during the entire day. Andrews coming in motion, gets to the outside. He's just going to get a little toss here, a little eager to get away. Goes up. That ball was thrown high. Let's backtrack just a little. Had to go up after it. Not the best pass that Neuheisel has thrown today.
Rushing yardage, UCLA 197, Illinois 12 yards against the Bruin defense. 3rd and 7 for Neuheisel. Under a rush. And he gets it to Young, who is out of bounds. No catch. Young did not have 1 foot down. He thought he did, but was out of bounds. And on 4th down, the Bruins will have to punt it away.
In the battle between the Illinois defense and Neuheisel, they put the pressure squarely on him. And he has responded in championship form.
Well, we mentioned that this game going around the world, much less these great United States, our Atlantic fleet, Azores, Belgium, Canada, Finland, Yuba Paiva. Buried is Passmore at the 30-yard line of Illinois. Trailing 38-9 and 9:26 remaining in the 4th and final period. The Illini have the ball after a 36-yard punt by Bono. Here's the theme of this tournament of roses. A tremendous parade again this morning. The Rose Bowl game not as close as many thought and hoped for, especially those who cheered the Illini. But nevertheless, what a spectacular day. And for those of you who have never had the opportunity, if you come out here for the Rose Bowl game, don't miss the whole show. The parade's part of the package, and unbelievably exciting. Trudeau unable to find his tight end, Tim Brewster. Here are the rest of the folks that we wish a Happy New Year to around the world from Pasadena. A lot of men and women, Americans who are far from home, especially want to salute. Hope we've given you a little taste of Americana in the course of our coverage today.
Certainly have a taste of a beautiful California day. I have never seen one as pretty, or any prettier at least.
No humidity, 84 degrees.
We have a dead ball, personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct on Illinois.
Yeah, we hope we don't get into that sort of thing. emotions of these young men.
A lot of frustration down there. There's no question about that.
9:22 left, which may be an eternity for Illinois. Back at their 15-yard line. 2nd and 25. Trudeau sacked at the 7-yard line. Down he goes again. And with those yards subtracted from the rushing total for the Illini, they're going to be in the minus pool again. Chris Block, the nose guard, number 78 from Valencia, junior, made the tackle.
Day turns even more frustrating for Illinois. Backed up now almost to their end zone.
Well, the Illini 3-0 in the Rose Bowl prior to this encounter. They had won with that Buddy Young team that we'd seen here earlier. Won again in 52. William Tate was their runner, and then Jim Grabowski, and the Illini won in 64. Williams kissed by Sanchez at the 10-yard line, and that'll bring up 4th down. Lupe Sanchez. Mike Young, the wide receiver who has a touchdown, was a teammate, and so was Don Mospar, the #1 draft pick of the Raiders out of the University of Southern California. All went to the same high school in Visalia up in the San Joaquin Valley. That must have been quite a club. Sanchez goes back now to return the punt. Chris Sigourney in his own end zone. He'll kick from about the goal line. Sanchez at the 48 and out of bounds right there. 7 minutes 55 seconds remaining in this 1984 Rose Bowl. I want to pay a special thanks and a tribute to Tournament of Roses people. What a great job they've done again.
Don Judson, his wife Jane, Don, of course, this year's tournament chairman, and 700 active volunteers working hard to make this the great spectacle that it is, and certainly have enjoyed it. Wish the football game could have been a little tighter, Dick, but it's been great football from the UCLA side of the field. And I wonder, there are some people around who got to eat a little crow. Talked about the fact that UCLA didn't belong in this game. They weren't the best team in the Pac-10. That Washington should have been here. That some of the other teams in the Pac-10 should have been here. Well, UCLA certainly has silenced those critics today.
Yeah, that's quite an answer they've offered Illinois. Well, UCLA may have had the toughest early schedule in all of football this year when you consider the teams they lost to in those first 4. Nebraska went unbeaten. BYU lost only 1. Georgia beat Texas today. They lost only 1. Neuheisel has a man open. Bergman. And had the pass been longer, that was a touchdown, and Bergman knew it. He's down at the 20-yard line. David Edwards made the stop. That ties the Rose Bowl record. That was the 69th pass attempt.
And I don't think that's a pass that Mike White or his staff or the players on the Illini side of the field will forget. Score 38-9. You're going deep for more. Maybe ask a question about that one, Dick.
Well, that may have been just for Bergman's sake, the tight end in his last game from Canoga Park, California. He's been a great star for this UCLA team. He's had 2 excellent Rose Bowls. He was one of the bright spots in the win last year for UCLA. Well, that might be a fumble by Tennell. They're still scrambling for it as the freshman fullback lost possession. Who's got it? UCLA. Boy, the ball, not that they needed the breaks, but the ball certainly has bounced just right for UCLA and not for that man and his team.
Mike White's got to be saying, what do I have to do to get a break around here? There's no question that UCLA has been the dominant team on the field, but they have had their share of the breaks and then some.
Did you see that scoreboard? It says Caltech and MIT. I wonder how that got on there. Some shenanigans. You know, every year those Caltech people do something. Look, they've got the scoreboard wired. They got a little free publicity. Well, why not? Remember the one year they even got to the card section and spelled out Caltech. Was it the UCLA or USC card section? They stole the cards and the directions so that students, unbeknownst to them, as they put up the cards, spelled out Caltech. Well, they got on the scoreboard. Wasn't it last year that they actually buried something under the turf here at the Rose Bowl?
They had a balloon that was going to go up, a little exploding thing to open up on the ground and a balloon to go up in the air. Ken Cruz warming up on the sideline. They say that young man, talented enough to be playing and starting in a lot of situations, but Happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time behind Jack Trudeau.
Another Californian. He's from San Francisco. 3rd and short. That'll be another first down. Danny Andrews inside the 10-yard line. Well, this one is not in doubt. It'll be UCLA winning here. The question remains, will it be Nebraska or Miami? National championship at stake. Let's go to the Orange Bowl.
Heisman winner Mike Rozier getting set to lead #1 Nebraska against Miami for the national championship on a big night at the Orange Bowl that features a very special halftime show. Be with us right now. Back to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
Thank you, Don. We'll all look forward to that one.
I think I've been in that Rose Bowl when that game was held a little bit, as this one is, and those people get a little rough down there.
That's right. We were there. There's another touchdown for UCLA. Brian Wiley, the junior fullback from Harbor City, California. And it's frosting for UCLA, and it may be mud in the eyes of Mike White.
Rose Bowl record for the most points scored, 49. Michigan versus Stanford, 1902. Michigan.
They did it again.
Yep. Michigan versus USC, 1948.
That was that great Bob Chapius, Jack Weisenberger, Bump Elliott team, Dominic Tomasi, Mann, Fritz Chrysler's club that they said was too small. Won 49-0. Extra point by Lee. And apparently the people here at the Rose Bowl recognizing the MIT Caltech tag, they're going up there trying to correct it. Flag is down on the extra point.
Losing their cool down there on the field.
He'll be back.
Extra softness is what you get.
Manning. Darkness now in Pasadena. And the lights are out for Illinois. 45-9 UCLA leads. Well, it's a long-distance revenge. In the very first meeting between the Big Ten and the Pac-10, it was Illinois thumping UCLA 45-14, and that was a year when UCLA was unbeaten. They wanted an unbeaten Army team to come out here, and they said, Illinois, we don't want the Big Ten champion or representative. Illinois had lost a couple of games, and the Illini and Buddy Young, Julie Reikovich made the Bruins swallow those words, 45-14. And to repeat the comment earlier, 12 victories out of the first 13 games to the Big Ten. Then they went 5-5 in the 60s, and with a win today, the Pac-10 will have won 13 of the last 15, and after 38 years, dead even, 19-19 for these two great conferences.
And for Mike White on the sideline, he's got to begin to feel that this game against UCLA is a jinx. He'll be 0-7 against UCLA. He's done very well, interestingly enough, against USC. But UCLA doesn't give him the trophy.
In fact, he said, you know, we beat SC a couple of times to put UCLA in the bowl. In fact, it was that 75 bowl, I believe, that UCLA came here only because Cal had defeated SC during the regular season. Well, one thing we're going to have is a new record in the Rose Bowl for most passes, because they're tied now, and you figure Illinois will have to throw it.
I did never think we'd see that record broken.
Whoops. Did he step out of bounds? No. Joe Miles, 20, 30. He hustles out to the 31-yard line. Crawford made the tackle for UCLA. 27-yard return. The scoreboard clock and scoreboard not operative. So when Caltech did their little trick to put their name up in lights, apparently when they corrected it, they lost the whole system. There's Chris Jenner. He's number 2, the third-string quarterback, a junior. He is the man who signals in the plays. I want to talk a little bit about him because he represents something else very special. Incomplete is Ken Cruz, who is now the quarterback for Illinois, and that sets the record, the 70th pass of the game. Wait, UCLA saying that they intercepted that. No, this is just a chance for UCLA to bring out the starting defense. They get a hand as they go out. Terry Donahue, complete substitution, 11 new men in the game.
And they deserve that hand. They have indeed. Even though the points show up in the offensive total, it's been defensive dominance that has set them up with field position and kept Illinois grounded all day long.
2nd and 10. Cruz, a junior. Down he goes by the shirt tail. Well, the second team, Mark Whalen, well, he's not been a second unit performer today, forced into the starting lineup because of the food poisoning. Starter David Randall, who didn't suit up, and Whalen has had a whale of a football game. He's got a couple himself, plus a fumble recovery. No, I forced the fumble. Third down, 11. He's in trouble. Flags down. Cruz gets it away. Incomplete to Miles.
That's a shame. Brian Ward, number 79, threw himself at the heels. Defensive of the one of the defensive linemen who got away from him, of course, ends up with a penalty.
Well, Chris Jenner, we were talking about him earlier, and we want to salute this man because he represents the athletes who make All-America academically. This young man, a junior, is an all-A student in his 3 years, nothing but A's as a pre-med chemistry major. He's already been accepted in Johns Hopkins Medical School, and just want to salute Jenner. The man hasn't played today, did not see much duty or any duty this year behind the likes of Trudeau and Cruz. Nevertheless, an integral part of this team, and certainly someone that all of Illinois is proud of as a student.
Was in the final running for the Rhodes Scholarship, too. For a Rhodes Scholarship. Was not selected this year, but has the opportunity to apply next year.
The punt return is fumbled, and if it goes the way the game has, UCLA will have recovered it. Still scrambling underneath that pile for possession. No, Illinois comes up with the football. A flag is down, but Illinois' Jim Juriga has the football. Now let's see how they untangle things.
Interference with the opportunity to catch Illinois.
Oh, well, they just haven't had a break. As you can see, we don't know how much time there is left in the game. We would guess around 3 minutes left. We do know the score, 45-9 UCLA. Maybe they've burned out all the electricity here. Got to pay the bill.
A little bit merciful for the Illinois players and fans who don't have to look up and feel the unpleasantness of that score. Dick Butkus here with us at halftime. Very unhappy then. I'm sure he's even more unhappy now.
But they're terrific fans. You look, a lot of folks have left, but you look down in this left corner and you can still see all the orange shirts. The Illini folks have stayed to the end, and it's great to have them out here. They've been out here. More tickets were needed by them. There were 25, 30,000, they say, and they only had 20,000 tickets. And they've been great fans. I know they're disappointed, but they've shown their support royally.
And they've had a great year. 10-1 on the regular season. They're finally back to where they know they can compete. And that has to be exciting for them.
Garibaldi, that's a familiar name for you. It's because that name was a Major League Baseball pitcher. In fact, his dad was still a basketball official.
Dick, I think even though someone tinkered with the scoreboard, I think perhaps it was Illinois that unplugged it. they turned it to black. Maybe Dick Butkus got up there and turned out the lights.
3:35. Where's Don Meredith when we need him, huh? At the Illini 49, Bono the quarterback. Dragged down number 33, Greg Francois. There's Bono. He'll be the man next year. He had a terrific game against BYU here in the Rose Bowl. 37-35 loss, but rolled up some big numbers, almost all of those numbers from the one game. Then early in the Stanford contest that followed, injured the shoulder. That allowed Rick Neuheisel to come back, and Neuheisel and the Bruins did just that. They came back winning 6 of their last 7, taking the Pac-10 conference, and certainly showing they deserve to be here against the Big Ten champion this afternoon. Bono, Thorpe, and loaded that one.
Twice in a row, Thorpe's been on top of the quarterback, and a lot of players here getting a look from pro scouts who are drooling over the opportunity of having a chance to draft them. Marv Levy was out looking at some of the players. I could get some of them back in Chicago to play for him. A number of the other pro scouts.
There's the answer to a Rose Bowl trivia quiz. The only man to play in the Rose Bowl and win, the only man to be an assistant coach and win, and a head coach. Terry Donahue. The Bruins were 0-5 till Donahue came along as a 195-pound defensive tackle. That was that 14-12 win, upset over #1 Michigan State back in 1966. Flag down. Bono. Apparently they ran into Bono, the kicker. And with that would come, depending on whether it was roughing the kicker or running into the kicker, a 5-yard penalty, which would not be a first down, or a 15-yard, which would carry the first down. Here it is again.
Chance to see it for yourselves. It's Joe Miles, captain of the special teams, knew instantly that if he hadn't touched the ball, he was in trouble. And they're going to mark the big one.
So that carries the first down. Everything that could go wrong for Illinois and right for the Bruins has.
Roughing the kicker, Illinois, automatic first down.
2 minutes and 22 seconds left. UCLA 45, Illinois 9. Earlier today, a big upset in the Cotton Bowl. Georgia knocked off previously unbeaten Texas 10-9, and Ohio State here on NBC in the Fiesta defeated Pittsburgh 28-23 on a last-minute touchdown pass. Nebraska and Miami are waiting. Stay in bounds. Oh my, out he goes, and the game continues on. We got about 2 minutes left. David Norrie is the new quarterback, number 9, as Terry Donahue giving him a chance to see some Rose Bowl duty. Well, yesterday we were at the Coliseum, and the Raiders devoured the Steelers, a lopsided game. And today was UCLA waiting for Illinois.
They call it an ambush, don't they, Rick?
This is like one of those Johnny Wooden basketball runs where they'd outscore the opposition 20-0. Just take a game apart early, and that's what the Bruin offense did. They led at the half 28-3, and the second half has been academic. It's been all UCLA. Norrie, the quarterback. Garibaldi, the ball carrier. Terry Donahue, 39 years of age. 8 years now for Donahue at UCLA. This will be his 62nd win, only 26 defeats. Back-to-back Rose Bowl championships. That's never happened to UCLA. Francois goes out of bounds again. But he's been taught well. A -6. Have a moment, a chance to thank those who have helped us in the booth. Dennis Mnuchin, Chuck Panama, Jack Prote, Arthur Hoffman, Art Hawbold, Joe Costanza, our statistician. Phil Olson, second set of eyes for us as well. Well, he wants to get ready to catch that Nebraska-Miami game, perhaps.
Their big day just about to end, too.
New quarterback Matt Stevens. Terry Donahue is going to give everyone in uniform apparently a chance to play it down. Garibaldi carried, and Illinois takes over on downs. There's the Queen, some of the members of her court. Glorious day for those young ladies, and well, these last month or so since they were selected. It's going to be all happiness on the west side of Los Angeles. Terry Donahue bringing back another Rose Bowl win. Not quite as dramatic as last year. Remember that shot we had of him throwing his headphones in the air when he knew he finally had the win. We accused him of practicing throwing those headphones up and catching them on his head right in position, but he denies that. There's a whale of a head coach at only 39, already 8 years of experience. Replaced Dick Vermeil after Vermeil won the Rose Bowl, went to Philadelphia, coached the Eagles, then Donahue took over. Less than a minute to go. Cruz, the Illini quarterback, going long for Passmore. Number 2, Herb Welch there to cover for UCLA.
Yeah, a lot of young men will be able to say at least they had a chance to play in this game anyway.
That's right. Now here's some people who played very hard. When the games aren't close, that's when these folks do their toughest work and best work. Our executive producer, Michael Weissman at NBC Sports. Ted Nathanson, our coordinating producer of football. Today's game was produced by Larry Cirillo and directed by the incomparable Harry Coyle. Yeah, that one's going to be too long for everyone. Now Cruz showing the strength of arm. Harry Coyle, our director. Ray Figelski, technical director. Ray Benassi, our associate director. All the rest of the folks who started things with the pre-game right through the post-game. They all send their best from Pasadena. We hope to see you out here. Part of a New Year's celebration someday.
Miami and Nebraska got to be just revving them up down there, waiting for a chance to start, Dick.
We are. Number 1 Nebraska. They fell behind UCLA early in the season and then just whipped the Bruins like everyone else. It was 10-0 in the second quarter, but the final score was 42-10. Complete to Williams at the 50. Surrounded. He stays inbounds. That might be the final play. The scoreboard clock not working. Terry Donahue even got some action. Didn't want any of that.
They'll be keeping the official time on the field. Our only indication will be from the officials.
Now we're going to have to get some suntan oil for those camera people who are out in brilliant sunshine today. 27 seconds is the call. 27 seconds left. Cruz to Williams. He's out of bounds at the 35 of UCLA. About 20 seconds left. That's a 13-yard play. Well, it was Rick Neuheisel, and it completes somewhat of a Cinderella story. Not good enough to be recruited to a major university on his own. Walked onto the UCLA campus because he always liked UCLA. Came from Tempe, Arizona. Ties a Rose Bowl record with 4 touchdown passes. Had 10 completions in a row in the first half. And the Illini could not stop his arm. We were picking an MVP. That'd be the man. There's an interception for the Bruins and a little frosting on the cake. Number 31, Doug Donatelli. His uncle, the umpire, Augie. And it's strike 3 for Illinois.
There goes Donahue onto the shoulders. And he's earned the ride off the field. A painful day for this man.
For Mike White, another year, and you have the feeling that what he's done at Illinois in just 4 short years to get the Illini an unbeaten Big Ten championship, he'll be back. So the final score of this 1984 Rose Bowl, an impressive win for the Bruins.